talking about SNL, the history, the mysteries, and all the hot impressions in between, breaking down all the numbers as well. In the favorite sketches with special guests, it's on the Saturday Night Network.
Yes, that is right. Welcome everybody on in to the Saturday Night Network for the final show of season 51 of Saturday Night Live here at the SNN. My name is Jon Schneider. So excited to be with you on this Wednesday evening for our last feedback show of the season. Of course, we are here as a presentation of latenighter.com. And this is, as I said, the last show that we do every single season where we get to talk to our greatest supporters here at the SNN, everybody who contributes to the show, who you may know from our community year after year. And this year was probably the best year in the history of the podcast for making new friends. So many people came in maybe after the 50th anniversary of the show, and we're excited to check out some new ways to watch SNL coverage, or maybe you came over from the UK if you've been a fan of SNL UK. But I'm so happy to have you with us, whether you've been watching the show for the last 5 or 6 years alongside us, or you are a new fan. We value your support, and we love getting to talk to you and getting to see you in the chat every single week. So we did about 100 shows this year, 100 podcasts from September all the way until now. So it's hard to believe that this is the last time we'll really be talking about season 51 of Saturday Night Live, which I thought was a really fun season of the show to get to cover. I've been saying on the podcast, I think it's my favorite one that I've done in the last 6 years. And I'm excited to hear what everybody thinks as we bring in patrons throughout the night. So if you are joining us for the first time on a feedback show, here's the way that the show will work tonight. Typically, I have a co-pilot with me, one of our regular podcasters, but I figured last show of the season, really want to talk to the patrons. So why don't I give them an opportunity to come on and just chat with me for 10 minutes at a time and talk about whatever they're feeling, whether it's SNL season 51 or SNL UK series 1. So we'll get into that. We got, I believe, 18 patrons calling us over the next 3 hours. So that totals out to about 10 minutes per patron coming on with us. And I'm excited to get into whatever it is that they would like to talk about. We also have a mailbag form that we put out on social media. So we have some questions that came in that we'll answer throughout the night. Some really good questions as we're wrapping up the season. So that was put out on our X account and on Instagram, where we got some great comments and questions sent to our story. So I have those loaded up with me to answer throughout the evening. Of course, if you want to send in any more, if you're watching the show and you're like, hey, I want to ask something, feel free. We'd love to make this an interactive experience. I think I'm going to put the chat up on screen, which is not something I typically do for all of our shows, but I'm going to trust that here tonight, everyone is just enjoying the show, wants to talk about some fun moments from the season. So don't go too crazy in the chat or I'll have to remove it from the broadcast. But for now, you can get your comments up on screen, because I know not everyone is super comfortable with coming on the show and speaking on camera. So I really do want to give everyone an opportunity to get involved in the show tonight. So looking forward to bringing in some patrons that will be coming in just a moment. Also excited to see some people who are joining us in the chat so far. So thanks, Isaiah, who I've seen in the last few shows. Of course, my man Victor is here, one of the great patrons and moderators of our chat. So, if you mess up in the chat and you say something you shouldn't, Victor's on the case. So he'll keep watching out for you. Michael's here, going to be joining us later on. I got the Cover Wars podcast. Always appreciate them being here. Jared's here as well. Eric. So this is Sam. Oh, wow. So a lot of great people who are joining us here tonight. Excited to bring on our first patron in just a few minutes once I see them loaded up in the background. In the meantime, just been thinking about wrapping up the season and all the coverage that we've done. In case you missed the last few shows, we did our SNL Awards show, which we've been putting out on social media every day, the winners of all of the awards. So thanks to everybody who voted on that. We revealed all those on the podcast last Monday. And then we did 2 shows, which are typically called our postseason by the number shows. We did them as the legacy watch this year, because I was saying to Mike Murray, who is fantastic and did another great job this year with the stats, that I really feel like this show is a status question of, okay, where does this person stand after this season? And it's kind of fun for people to go back and look at those shows year after year and say, all right, how do we perceive James Austin Johnson after season 51 versus 50 versus 49. So I figured Legacy Watch is the right way to brand those. So so I'm excited to have done those shows and to share them with you, and then to get into whatever anybody would like to this evening. We are going to be starting our summer series, which will be kicking off this Sunday night. So we're not typically live on Sundays. Maybe the first time we're live on Sundays. I have to go into the archives to check through our few hundred episodes that we've done, if we've ever been live on a Sunday. But Bill and I will be going live this Sunday to kick off our summer series, which is the greatest 100 sketches of all time. We're going to be running that all the way from mid-June through mid-September as we get closer to 52. The form is out now to vote for all of our patrons and podcasters. So if you haven't submitted your picks, my rule on this is you can't complain about the list if you didn't vote on the list, because everyone can vote for this. You don't have to be any special person to vote. We do accept all types of voting. So number one is, if you are a patron and podcaster, we're going to count your votes for even more than just the people who are not a part of our close-knit inner circle community. But you can vote on social media. If you don't want to join the Patreon, even the free tier, if you don't want to join that, that's totally fine. I appreciate your support in any way. Even if you follow us on socials, you can always vote there. So we have those posts out now. Submit your votes. We're going to close the voting on Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So once we have all of those votes counted, we will then prepare everything for our Sunday night show. And then on Monday nights, we will be going through everything each and every week. And we're going to have a lot of our patrons, who you may see tonight, join us throughout the entire summer to reveal those picks. So should be a great summer. And I'm excited to kick off our show tonight. It looks like we have our first patron joining us in the chat. So Christian, just give me the thumbs up if you think you're ready to come on to the show. I see you in the background. If you're not, I'll take some questions from the mailbag in the meantime. So Christian, let me bring you on, because I don't know if you can hear me. We'll see how we're doing here, and if not, I'll send you back, and then we'll answer some questions in the meantime. So, Christian, do you got me? Christian, can you hear me over there? All right, no worries, man. Let me know if you got it all settled. If not, we'll try and bring you back later into the show. So I'll keep an eye on you in the background. Let me know when you are ready. All right, so we did get some great questions. I'll start answering those in the meantime, so to kick off our show. So this one came in on Instagram. This one came from our friend Troxler Jackson on Insta. Said, do you think there's a correlation between pre-existing fan base and overall performance on Saturday Night Live? It's a great question. And I think it's one that we really do explore here on the podcast a lot, where we look into, all right, well, Marcelo kind of came in with this background, Jane a little bit, Veronica, certainly. How does that affect their view? But you got to think, like, even Cam this year also had a lot of people supporting him, people who watched Kill Tony. So now it definitely seems that most people come in with some sort of background, which is, by the way, why I think the whole Ashley Padilla story is so interesting to me, is that it really does, make it kind of cool that, and old school, that they found her. She didn't really have a social media presence, and then they brought her on the show and she succeeded. So to that extent, Troxler Jackson, I don't think there's an exact correlation. I think they definitely, in the first episode of the show, when you see the new season, they try and put people out there who you may know, for people who are tuning into SNL for the first time. So I think that's part of the reason why you got Cam on the first episode of this season. But I don't believe that it's necessarily a correlation to success, because we've seen clearly with somebody like Ashley that you can succeed without having that background. And truly, that's kind of the fun of Saturday Night Live, and why I love it so much. You may say, like, well, why don't we get modern? Why don't we just enjoy if people come in with an existing platform? I have no problem with that. But to me, there is something cool, because we are invested in Ashley's success, that we are a part of being on the ground floor of the way that she got to being on the show all the time. That makes it more exciting for me as a fan. So it's not just that she's so good, it's that I feel like I was there when she first started. So correlation, I think, is an interesting question. I guess there's always the question of correlation versus causation. What is one versus another? Is it possible that someone comes on and they're so popular off the show that the show just has to continue to push them? Definitely. And I think that there's going to be a bigger argument for it as we continue to go into the future. But I would say I hope that the show remains true to itself and really just continues to push the best people on the show, regardless of how much of a fan base they brought into it. So I hope that answers your question, Troxler. All right, I'm going to try and bring Christian on again. Hopefully we do get him this time. Christian, do we have you?
Are we good? Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Yes. Fantastic.
Awesome.
So have you on the show. I'm so sorry we had your time a little bit cut short, but I just want to answer any questions you have and happy to have you back.
Honestly, I don't have a question at this moment. I was kind of scrambling the last 30 minutes or so for some reason, so I'm happy to answer any question you have ready to go.
Sure. Well, why don't you tell me how you enjoyed the last few episodes of the season? Were you happy to see how they ended 51?
Yeah, I think overall, yes. I felt like the Will Ferrell episode was kind of I think there's a lot of expectation that was put on that one, and it was really lofty and it didn't really meet it. And also, I think there's just some moments that people were kind of hoping for, specifically an Ashley Will Ferrell moment that we ended up getting in a Cut for Time sketch. But no, I really enjoyed the oh my god, what was the second to last one? The second to last one, the Olivia Rodrigo one and the Matt Damon one, I really enjoyed. Yeah. Mainly because it probably didn't have the expectation of the Will Ferrell one, like I said. So overall, I thought it was a strong finish to the season and a strong finish for a couple people in particular. But I think maybe one person I did want to talk about the most is probably Jeremy, because I felt like he really just ended the season out on a bang, especially with the Mr. On Blast stuff, because of I'm not sure how often it is for a recurring character for a rookie to be brought back on a finale sort of episode. That might be a thing to kind of a really obscure thing to kind of look at, but that feels like a pretty big moment to come on right before the joke swap, which is such a massive thing on a yearly basis at this point for casuals, so to speak.
It's a good point. I mean, I think that certainly in the seasons where they had complete changeover, you probably had that more where you just started trying to figure out, okay, who's establishing himself. I think John Lovitz probably got something on the finale of season 11 because he really found a way to connect with the audience. But how often do we have somebody who has this sort of Miss Eggy spot where last year it was Ego who had that, and this year it is Jeremy. But it's great though, Christian, because you kind of feel that we never, unless we know for sure someone's leaving for the finale, we don't have the answers to our questions. But I do feel that this is a solid answer we got in this finale, that if they're going to feature Jeremy so much in the final episode, he has to be coming back.
And it felt like the Mr. On Blast stuff was maybe the most for the rookies, at least maybe on social media, TikTok and stuff. It was probably the most talked about one. I think I saw a lot of stuff on at least my own algorithm, people talking about that. Jeremy, of course, brought over his pretty big fan base from Dropout just in general, so people just liked him just going into it. But it just felt like such a massive stamp of approval, if we didn't already get one before, especially with the Tucker Carlson stuff and a couple other things. But that really just felt like them putting a big stamp of approval on him, and potentially being maybe not an Ashley level year two, but who gets an Ashley level year two? Really no one. So I really can see him ascending to a pretty high spot, especially if we see a vet or two potentially leave.
Yeah, I think I would say that my feelings on Jeremy are very similar to what they were with Ashley last year, but it would be unfair to expect him to have an Ashley level season. Where would you be happy seeing him next year if we're just talking about among power rankings of the cast? Do you think, is it a top 5, a top 8? What would you like to see from Jeremy next year?
Maybe not in that sort of power ranking, but I can kind of see a sort of Marcelo from year 2 to year 3 sort of jump from him, because it does feel like he is kind of on the cusp of becoming even going even more viral with something, whatever it is. He kind of just has that sort of energy. I love the comp that people have been saying all year. It's very Bobby Moynihan as well, just in terms of his energy and how he plays certain things. But yeah, I'm just really excited. I would maybe say a top 8 sort of finish, because it is hard to sort of, especially if mostly everyone is retained, which it sort of feels like just from vibes. I wouldn't expect that massive of a jump, but definitely top 8. And I'd be pretty shocked if he isn't far and away the highest second year person, even over a Veronica, honestly.
Yeah, that's going to be the big question, is that I feel like Veronica and Jeremy, we're always going to sort of compare them to each other because they're from the same rookie class. And it did feel for me a while that Jeremy was falling behind Veronica in the spring, but then he clearly took over towards the end of the season. So does he continue that momentum? Do they perhaps work together in the future? You know, if Ben or Tommy and Cam, like if they don't find their path on the show, what's the relationship like between Jeremy and Veronica? I think these are things definitely to think about in future years. Christian, I don't want to cut your time short. I do want to sort of keep to the schedule of the night with everybody, but I would love to have you on the summer series. So I hope you sign up. Do you have anything else you want to check in with me before you go?
At the moment, no. I'd love to jump on to the summer series as well. Sorry for lead off spot. I should have been a little bit more ready, but I had like one other thing that I was dealing with. But yeah, no. So, super excited.
Yeah. Oh, I think we lost you at the end there, but I know you were saying that you loved being on the show tonight. So I'm thankful. I'm thankful to have you here, Christian. And you know what? It's all good. It allowed me to warm up for the show. I got to continue to talk a little bit longer. So
you see, this was all planned. It was all a massive plan. Just so yeah. Thank you. Talk to you guys later.
Thanks for your support all season long, and we'll talk over the summer.
All right, man. Peace.
All right, let's continue the show. Let's bring in our buddy Eric is here. I haven't spoken to him in a while. Eric, what's up, man?
John, how's it going? I'm pretty good.
Good. Welcome to the show. I can't even remember the last time you came on a podcast, and I feel like every time you do, I get so excited. So I'm happy to talk to you. How are you feeling right now about season 51?
I'm feeling really good. I think that we got to see, a lot of great stuff from everybody. I feel like there was a new storyline every week. We got, great moments from all the rookies. Obviously, the Ashley stuff coming throughout the whole season. So yeah, it was a great season overall. I was gonna try to rewatch the whole thing in anticipation for my 10 minutes here, but didn't quite make it past. I did now. I got 4 episodes, and then
okay, all right.
Life,
you got 20% of the way.
Life has its way.
Yeah, for sure. I think you got a lot going on right now. So I totally understand that. But I find like you always have some of the most interesting insights on the season. I know that you're a stat guy for sure. Was there anything that you noticed from this season that maybe we weren't talking about enough on the podcast?
Ooh. Probably nothing like too crazy. I did have I had a thought partway through the season when we were thinking about all the stand-ups that they brought in. I've been wondering if they should be putting the stand-ups in like a traditional stand-up environment, like the stand-up cast members, instead of on week. Yeah, like Cam and Tommy. How do you think the show would approach like putting them in a traditional stand-up format? Because they haven't really done that since Eddie Murphy did it a couple times probably, and maybe
he's definitely the guy. I think then you had David Wayans a little bit. Yeah, like it's been a long time since they've done stuff like that. I just think Lauren doesn't value the stand-ups as much as he used to, which is weird that he always thinks he needs to have them on. I don't know if it's just that he wants to have the stand-up community continue to watch the show or think that there's a path for them on Saturday Night Live. But yeah,
I think he's still looking for like his cool guy. Like he's still trying to replace the bad boys in a way. And he hasn't really been able to do it, but I think he'll always just try that out. And
I think that was such a special scenario where it just happened to work because they all just kind of clicked, and there was this sort of bro club thing with them, which I don't know that would work in today's day and age. You probably couldn't get that going. No. So I do ever wonder if a cast full of stand-ups could ever succeed at Saturday Night Live. But I just think the main problem for me, Eric, is that number one, there's just no path for them. There's nowhere for them, like unless they completely convert to a sketch performer. What do you do with a stand-up? You can only do the Pete Davidson, Leslie Jones thing, which is, hey, once every 3 episodes, we're going to bring you onto the update desk and you're going to do a stand-up bit. And if you look at Tommy came on, I'm going to say off memory. I mean, you just watched the first 3 episodes. I think it was episode 3, right?
So yeah. Episode 2 as well. He had a lot of bit parts and stuff. He was kind of driving the birthing sketch. Right. He was kind of like the main straight man there, but yeah, I think episode 3 as well. He had some stuff going on.
Yeah, I think one of those he ended up at the desk and he did some sort of stand-up. And I think
he did, yeah.
Yeah, okay, so 3. So perfect. So when I saw that, Eric, I thought that he was going to be on once a month for sure. And then when he had his Minnesota thing cut and he didn't really appear after that at the update desk, I was like, oh man, they must have no confidence in this guy. And that's the biggest indicator for me that they maybe won't bring him back. And then Cam, he never really did too much stand up. He sort of converted over to characters, which was a little bit weird because not only was he not working on his weaknesses, which seems to be sketch performing and having significant roles in sketches, but he also wasn't working on his strength. It's not like we got this like really dirty, raunchy stand up from him. So I just felt they had no idea what to do with them this season. And with them getting rid of Longfellow, it almost feels like they got rid of Longfellow so people would stop talking about him taking over the desk. The whole thing is confusing to me. So I love the question. I genuinely don't know what they're doing with them. And I have to think that your suggestion of giving them more time, maybe doing a set on the show, is better than anything they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the set would give them like a little bit more personal time because when you're doing Weekend Update, you still have the crutch of the host being the Weekend Update anchor being there. You sort of have the familiar Weekend Update setting, and it just feels like part of that segment. It's not like its own standalone thing to me necessarily. And whenever you have a monologue where you have a stand up there, they always get a ton of views, and obviously they're usually more famous stand-ups than the ones who come in as cast members. But I still think I don't know why they don't do it, like other than it's not familiar to them anymore. Or maybe there's like a logistics reason why you can't have home base, cleared for a stand-up or something. I don't know. But
yeah, I think he just doesn't feel like it's in the DNA of the current show. Yeah. Maybe. And even on Update, where you'd have some stand-ups go on there, they don't do anything alone anymore. They really have a part of their stand-up where they interact with Jost and Shay. And I think the show doesn't like to have them just monologue. Which I think is a shame because I think it is good for them to be able to just be comfortable and do their bit. But you think about even Leslie had that whole thing with Colin Jost. Pete often would have some interactive experience with the audience or someone would be reacting to something crazy he was saying. But he's probably the closest thing we've gotten to a stand-up traditionally in the last modern era, I'd say like 15, 20 years. So yeah, it's a tough thing. But overall, though, how are you feeling about 51 versus the last few years that you watched? I remember you told me you were going on this whole, watching everything through the entire series. So with all that knowledge, how do you feel like this compares?
Yeah, I did make it all the way through, but this is, I think, like what you guys have said, this is probably my favorite season so far, as I've been watching live with the podcast. Probably my favorite since 42 or so. I wasn't keeping a ranking on the way, but it feels about right. It's at least the one I've been the most excited about from week to week.
Cool. Were you tracking anything? I remember we were talking about this a while. You asked me if there was anything that I thought that you should track, but in the end, were you tracking anything through your series watch that you kind of look back to now when you're going through the new episodes?
No, and I wish I had, especially as we're trying to rank all these sketches from all time. But no, I found that trying to track stuff and watch things for the first time was like slowing me down too much and making me enjoy the show like on its own less. So second watch, I'll track all kinds of things, but this first watch was just.
I feel you. The first time I watched the show all the way through, I did my initial data set, which what launched SNL Stats, and then the second time I did it for everything you need to know, all the scripts, and also for preparation to go to the 50th anniversary. So I've never watched the full series just to enjoy it. But yeah, maybe one day when I have kids, and then we can I can watch it through with them. But yeah, for sure. Eric, anything else you want to talk about while you're here?
I did actually pull a bunch of YouTube stuff for this. I know we're running short on time. If you want, John, since we've never done UK YouTube stats before, just off the dome, what do you think the 5 most watched sketches in UK SNL were?
Mario's got to be number 1, I would think.
So Mario's the number 1 non-cold open.
Cold open. So I would think the first cold open, like
and
first
non-monologue. There's one monologue. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Oh no, I'm sorry. That's actually wrong. It's the second highest non-cold open, non-monologue.
Interesting.
Number
yeah,
one
I would
sketch
say
is also a live sketch.
okay. I got to think that the first cold open is in there because I know that Trump reposted it.
Oh really?
So
That
yeah, he put it on his Truth Social. Is that
that's
not there?
number 6.
Wow. All right. Mario, you said it's on there.
Mhm.
I'm trying to think other cold opens that would be there. The Melania Trump one, is that one the cold open?
Melania was 7 overall.
Okay. I'm trying to think of ones that are more like global instead of like very uniquely British. So is 45 Seconds with 4 Acres? Is that one of the ones that's up there?
No, I don't even know where that is.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't looked because I know that they haven't posted everything. So for me, I haven't been keeping track of it all. But you want to just tell me what?
Yeah. So number 1 was the Last Supper sketch from Tina Fey's episode.
Okay. With the Princess Diana. You should have said that.
Yep. And then 2 was Tina Fey's monologue. And then 3 was the Prince Andrew cold open, and 4 was King Charles and Queen Camilla fly home. So the one where they're on the plane. So those were probably my 2 favorite. So it's good to see they got a lot of views.
Those all make sense. Yeah, that completely tracks. I would be, it's tough because they don't post everything, and they post the cold opens first. So naturally those get a lot of views, but yeah, we'll see. I'd be curious over the summer if they end up posting a lot of those sketches, because it seems like we're missing a ton of content for people to see online.
Yeah. They have 75 posted right now. They seem to post them across a couple channels. I had to search Sky TV and then the SNL UK channel.
Okay. I will definitely check that out. Eric, thank you for joining us here tonight. Really appreciate you and hope we get to chat more this summer.
Yeah, right on, John. Looking forward to talking about the Rudemans with you over the summer.
Yeah, you think it's going to make it?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe the Nudemans. We'll see.
The Nudemans, yeah. All right.
Yeah. Thanks, Eric. All right, we'll chat soon. All right, great start to our show. Let's bring in our buddy Ian is here. What's up, Ian?
Hello, how are you?
Good. Just me and you on the TV behind you tonight.
Yep. Well, I can move it.
Now just me, but we're a little bit behind there. But great to get to chat with you. Love the SNL 50 shirt. How you been doing?
Good. I'm going out of town this weekend, going to Chicago, so that's going to be fun.
Very cool.
And I'm excited to talk about SNL tonight. So,
what are you doing in Chicago?
Doing Pokemon Go Fest.
Cool. That's really fun.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Are you big into that? Do you do that all the time?
Yeah, I like to play it here and there. So
okay. Very cool. I was going to say earlier, the reason that I am doing the show on Sunday night for our kickoff to our countdown and not Monday next week is that next week I will be in Austin, Texas. So I'm coming down to the States. I'm going to the Harry Ransom Center to go see the Lorne exhibit. He donated all of his archives there. So I'll be there visiting, and I'm very excited. It's been something that I would love to have done months ago when it first came out, but I'm excited to finally get to go do that. So I'm looking forward to telling you guys what I see you when I come back. So that'll be me next week.
That's awesome.
Yeah. But Ian, how you feeling about season 51 now that we're wrapped?
I really liked it. I made like a list of things that I loved that I could think of off the top of my head. And I wasn't sure what I should prepare for. And happy to answer any questions. I'm also happy to do like a rundown of some of my favorite moments if you want to talk about that.
Sure. Well, it's your time. What would you like? I would love to hear about some of your favorite moments if you want to give them to me.
Well, loved seeing Amy Poehler back. I listen to Cousin Planet almost once a day. I love that so much. Same with Words to Live By. That one's just amazing. Loved to see Gorillaz perform Clint Eastwood. That was like one of my favorite songs as a kid. And then me and my band play that song too. So it was also fun to watch and play.
I feel like nobody's going to talk about that moment besides the diehards, because sometimes every now and then we'll get an artist come on and play like an old school track. But because there were such big moments for today's generation, like Sabrina, Harry, Olivia, I feel like no one's talking about Gorillaz, but it was a really fun moment.
I know. It was wonderful. I'm glad it made the votes. Like, at least it was like one of the nominations. I was like, yeah, because I voted for it.
Good.
Not voting for the sketches. I saw that spreadsheet and I was like, overwhelming.
Yeah, it's tough because I wanted to provide the spreadsheet just to let people know, hey, here are all the options. But what I would say is that we put out a minimum of 10. So if there are 10 sketches in your head, Ian, that you're like, oh man, I would be pretty pissed if this one didn't make the countdown this summer, just put 10 in, because at least you know and you'll feel good about that.
That's fair. I'll do that.
Cool.
100's a lot. I also need to shout out Ashley too, because haircut and the live version of the birthday surprise was just some of my favorite moments ever. Even though Mikey had my favorite line in haircut, but when he screamed, "I hate it," that sent me to another dimension.
Those were so great. And I forgot that we had the whole little bit of controversy at the start of the year of like, oh, why are we posting the dress version of Surprise? And it was a whole thing. And kind of reminds me a little bit of the science room sketch where we had no one really knows what the dress or the live version is from when Jason Sudeikis hosted a few years ago. So every now and then you get these moments.
What that was like that when Melissa Villaseñor mispronounced the thing or whatever.
Yeah, she said her name wrong. It's like Lonnie. There was that whole moment, but that happened in dress rehearsal, and I think that they thought that was so funny that they decided to post the dress version online, but that wasn't the version that we all watched on TV, so there was so much confusion there. So
I think I did watch the episode late because I remember it being in the episode. Did they add it to the Peacock version?
I think they added it both to the Peacock version and to the reruns, so it's not the original airing of what happened there, but these things... They seem to bother me and maybe nobody else. So I will go on my rants here about them, I guess. But I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the live event of the show is important to preserve.
It was just so perfect. She nailed it. And
yeah.
Why make Ben break? We don't need that. That was the only
completely. Exactly. That was my exact point that week. I was like, yeah, I get it. Like he broke in the sketch and it was kind of funny to see the dress rehearsal version, but I would rather them post, which they have done before, by the way, like a long time ago. I can't remember which sketch, but I would rather than post office surprise dress version, like a la Taylor's version, dress version, and live version. Like, let us see both and then compare and do a side by side. That would be more fun than just, I don't know how much people enjoy those 360s that they post every now and then, but like, you know, they're cool, but I think we could do more.
Yeah, I'd like to see the live version again. I hope it's somewhere. I'm mad I don't have it on DVR because my mom still DVRs it. And I was like, "Did you save the episode?" She said, "No." I'm like,
"Oh, it's gone forever." Yeah, we do have it here. When we get to everything you need to know about SNL season 51, it'll be there.
Oh, good. In 10 years.
Yeah. Hey, we're getting to 26 tomorrow night, so at least that's something.
Yeah, I also wanted to shout out to SNL UK if there's still time.
Yeah, you got time. Go ahead.
All right. Still love Hamed George. I love the Shakespeare bit with it was George and then Jack.
Yeah.
And I even call, I don't know what I'm allowed to say here, but I do call this my slightly little chain now.
I love it. That's great.
Just every time I'm putting it on, I'm just like, oh, Disney slightly little chain. And it just makes me laugh. And then the boobies goes to the films. Still can't get over that. Just
killer. I can't wait. Honestly, I might be more excited to watch SNL UK one more time than SNL 51 because it happened in such a short period of time. So I'm thinking maybe later in the summer, I'll do a complete rewatch of series 1. There were so many good moments. So I'm so with you and I'm glad you had some on your list.
Yeah, it's great. And I think I said it before, but I've been obsessed with those songs that Wet Leg played and even I've checked out some of their other stuff and became a fan. So really like that. Oh, and one more gripe. What's with all the cut for time being better than some of the stuff we got? Like,
yeah, I was talking to
was great. The Jack Harlow thing.
Yeah, I was talking to Mark Malkoff and Bill Carter about this yesterday because we do a roundtable for Late Nighter where we talk about late night stuff, and we did a little mini version of the 51 discussion, and they both had the same take, or at least Mark did. Mark was like, "I don't understand why all the dress stuff is so much better," but that to me is the fun of the show, which is that we may prefer the stuff that was cut, and maybe we will think, okay, that would have been a better show if it made the show, like Tiana Taylor's episode. I know a lot of people felt that way, but at the end of the day, the brutal decision making of deciding what makes the air and doesn't is the greatness of the format of the show. So I don't know why it was cut, but I do love that sometimes the best stuff, in our opinions, gets cut.
Yeah, I guess it's good that we still get them regardless. You know, beggars can't be choosers. Sure. You know, because like you're still getting more content in the end. If they didn't cut it, they would cut something else. Maybe that one would have never gotten posted. You never know. So it's nice that we still get it. I'll say that. I'll be appreciative, but I'm just like, sometimes I just don't understand their decision making.
Right, and it creates great podcast material. So at least we do have that. But Ian, thank you for coming with your I guess naughty and nice list for everything from Saturday Night Live this year. I appreciate it, and you're always a great part of these feedback shows. So I hope we get a chat more this summer. Was there anything else you wanted to ask me?
I don't think off the top of my head I have anything. Cool. But yeah, I'm always happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to more summer shows, I guess.
Sure. Well, absolutely. I can't wait to get to chat with you more. So I really appreciate your continued support, buddy, and we'll talk this summer.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Ian. All right, let's bring in a friend. I'm not sure if we've chatted before on the podcast. Let me bring in Liz is joining us right now. Hi, Liz.
Hi there. How are you?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I'm really good. We haven't chatted before. I'm a very new patron.
Well, first of all, welcome to the show, and thank you for supporting the podcast. I so appreciate you.
Oh, well, thank you for all you bring to us. Yeah, I've become a devoted fan.
Well, I really appreciate it. Tell me where you're from. I could tell that not American, right?
No, I'm from Tasmania in Australia.
Wow. All right. All the way. What time is it for you right now?
9:42.
Wow.
In the morning on Thursday.
Yeah, early morning. Wow. Okay, you're coming to us from the future. So glad to get to talk to you, Liz. Thank you for. How did you find the show?
Well, I've always been a big SNL fan, but through clips because it wasn't broadcast in Australia. And so a big fan of going back to Dana and Mike, and especially Amy and Tina and Seth, my kind of people. And then in 49, we started a binge. One of our streaming services started to have it, and it comes on a Monday night. And I started to watch, and by 50, I was just obsessively watching and needed then a podcast to support it, my watching. And I've become, so what I do now is I watch all the clips on Sunday afternoon after they go, listen to the Hot Take show, and then watch it on Monday night after work. So.
Oh my gosh, that's so fun to be a part of your routine. Thank you. I'm really seriously touched that you listened to the show all the way from over there. It was so funny, Liz. Last year during the 50th, there was all this extra media coverage around the show, and I had more than one Australian radio station ask if I can come onto the show, and it seems to be a huge following for Saturday Night Live in Australia. So do you have like other friends or family, like people who watch the show that you know?
Well, I felt like I was sort of going into it by myself, knowing that lots of people love, particularly my friends, we all love the political stuff, and we've been following American politics for the last 15 years through the show and through the other late night shows. But it's just really grown in popularity since the 50th. I did a thing I'm a drama teacher, and I did a question of the day, what's making you laugh, like Amy does on her podcast, and 5 out of 20 kids said SNL, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's amazing. And my niece rang me the other day, and she said, how do you watch SNL? Because she's a huge Olivia Rodrigo fan, and she's like, knowing that I'm watching it. So I tend to talk about it a bit now, so people are coming out of the woodwork.
Oh, this is so much fun. I feel like I want to give you a chance to ask me anything you want, because I know you've been listening. But I have one more question for you before, which is that obviously SNL going to the UK this year has been one of the biggest stories of the year. Would you think maybe we might get SNL Australia at some point?
Oh, that's a great question. Our population isn't big enough to have the money to make a really good show. And often when we remake shows, they can have a real cringe quality. And I know that's what people in the UK were worried about, that SNL UK would be a bit cringy, and instead it was absolutely brilliant. And we have lots of great comedians, lots of great stand-up, and a group called Working Dog who do an amazing political sitcom and do a lot of panel shows. So they have a lot of people doing improv. So if they were in it, it could be great. But yeah, there's a cringe factor, and the fact that we don't perhaps have the population to support the money to put up a really good version.
Okay. Well, I hope one day maybe that there will be an opportunity there. And if there is an Australian Saturday Night Live, I hope you'll be around to help us cover it, because we're going to need some Australian correspondents for the show.
Absolutely. And I think, live from Sydney would be the thing, but I think a lot of the good comedies in Melbourne, so it might be live from Melbourne.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Oh, well, I guess we'll see what happens. I don't want to monopolize all your time though. So is there anything you want to ask me or talk about from what you saw the last year?
Well, I've been interested in some of the talk you've been having about the chemistry between casts, and as a theatre person, that's something I'm really interested in with actors. So my question for you is, which cast member do you think had the best chemistry with a host this year? And I'm taking Bowen out because he was gone. I agreed with Rebecca in the draft. He was going at Christmas. He was too big for the show. He came back as a favour. So take him out. And other than Bowen, I've got a couple, but I'm interested in who you think.
Well, I think it has to be Veronica and Sabrina Carpenter. I think that was sort of the big storyline early on, where it's everything you want if in a rookie is for them to bond really well with a host. And I think right away that secured her place in the ensemble. So, it's a little bit counterintuitive when you think somebody's coming on and you're like, hey, we want you to connect with cast members, but having such a good connection with a host is paramount to having a great season. And I think that's part of the reason why Sabrina, though she's been a friend of the show from before Veronica was there, comes back in the Finn Wolfhard episode, because, these two have hung out and you want to hang out with your friends.
Absolutely. I when the season started, I was so devastated that Heidi and Ego left, and then the lack of women was, sad, and I was pretty resentful for, say, like Tommy, who was just there. But when I saw him in that karaoke scene with Nikki Glaser, I just fell in love with him. I was just like, oh my God. And I know they had a relationship out of the show, but it was that moment where I saw him with her that made me go really root for him, and then get disappointed that I didn't see him more later in the season. But my number one was, and it's a different kind of chemistry, was how Jeremy matched it with Melissa McCarthy in the free sample sketch. I just thought they, just seeing a new person match it with one of the best was really put him right up there for me, and that I love following him all season.
I completely get that. I mean, I think that we were all sort of hoping to have really big moments from Melissa that night. But maybe my favorite moment was just seeing Jeremy go toe to toe with her. And it was so cool. It's just one of those things that, the Veronica Ashley thing. Yes, she had that like washing machine sketch, but it was really more of a outside friendship. And you could say the same thing for Nikki Glaser with Tommy. But I think maybe the two biggest chemistry makers that you saw on screen were Jeremy and Melissa, and then maybe Jack Black with Ashley, where you had in the Kathy sketch, just sort of like he's annoyed with her.
That was one of my favorites as well. It was just the best.
Yeah, I would say that that's probably one of the best parts of the season that we didn't talk about in the postseason coverage, is just it seems that everybody was excited to be there for the most part. A lot of the hosts were really game for the show this year. And that's part of the process of the show, is connecting with a host. So I love that that's something that you keyed into as a fan of the show. So hopefully my answer was sufficient.
No, it was fantastic. The last thing, if I could bring it up, is I know it was in the last episode, and I don't know, you don't count it as a sequel because it's not canon, the first one. But as a drama teacher, I have to say that Cast List, I've done a lot of musical theatre in my life, that Cast List was just the most satisfying sketch for us people in the world of it to watch. It was just brilliant.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not upset that they brought it back. I guess my question was, how does continuity work in the sketch? Because you're establishing that Mikey is a teacher's assistant and used to be a student, which I guess plays if you don't see the first one. But for me, it's a little bit weird because I've my entire life watched the show and watched them build worlds in sketches based on things that have happened previously on the show. And there's probably millions of people who just watch the show on TV who would have had no idea. So I guess I hope that in my gripes on the podcast, I don't make people feel like I didn't enjoy getting it, because I thought it was fun. It was just a very weird choice for me, for being like, hey, this is going to be the big thing we're going to do when Will Ferrell hosts the season finale.
Yeah. I understand that from your point of view. Knowing the first one, just because at that stage I wasn't watching it at the time as a full shows, I just loved it. And having seen Molly Shannon and Will back together was just so satisfying. And I loved all the meta parts, you know, how their characters really related to who they are on the show. Like Mikey having the inside knowledge was kind of like him being related, you know, so close with the top writers. So I thought it was fantastic.
It really was. It was a very cool moment. And I think maybe, you know, without having the expectations for the finale, once I do finally go back and rewatch the episode, I'll feel even better about it. I always watch things twice to do our coverage, but just with some time away and perspective, I think I'll probably enjoy it even more. But yeah, Liz, thank you for getting up early with us and coming to be on the show all the way from Tasmania. It is so cool to get to meet you.
Oh, it's lovely to meet you. And thank you again for all you do for all us fans.
Of course. Don't be a stranger, and I hope we can chat again soon.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Liz. How awesome was that? That was great. I'm so excited to meet Liz. She's fantastic. So what a great start to our show. Everyone's just bringing the heat tonight. Love it. So much fun. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep the show going. Let's bring in our friend Scott is here with us for this portion of the show. Scott, how are you?
Doing pretty well. I mean, yesterday it was reported that Amazon is not moving forward with the Stargate reboot or revival. And I got 2 articles out of it, and the statements from the producers actually got more views than the initial announcement report.
Okay. I'm not a big Stargate person, so I don't know how meaningful this is, but I'm sorry that it didn't come back if you were excited to get to see it.
Yeah. They're still working on that. They're going in a different direction, but the one that was initially announced isn't happening. But yeah, it's been quite a month. I thought the
tell me what you're thinking.
This finale was better than the last 3.
Yes. So just to recap, we had the Scarlett Johansson finale last year, then
Gyllenhaal and Ana de Armas.
Yes, which wasn't supposed to be the finale, but ended up being. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't think she quite had it even then, so it wasn't a great episode on its own, let alone being the de facto season finale.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what you thought of the rundown.
What I thought of the rundown of the finale?
No, the
rundown. Oh, sorry. Yes, the rundown of. Yeah, I didn't get to watch Sarah's today. I heard that she. Am I allowed to spoil it here? I heard that she picked a season 20 sketch as her 10-1 choice, which was really cool. So, Scott, I don't know if you were with us when we did this concept as a super fan takeover back in 2022. Were you around for that?
I think I had to be, because I believe I was around.
You were on one of the quizzes, the trivia shows we used to do.
And I remember the hot takes show for the Paul Rudd episode. So, which even
okay. Yeah, you go way back. So, yeah, I would say so we did this as a concept. We used to do a show, for those who don't know, called the Superfan Takeover over here. The concept was that, you know, we didn't have a show on SNL off weeks, and I felt like I wanted our listeners to get a better idea as to the, you know, thoughts of our podcasters, because they were simply only talking about current episodes. So we had 4 of our original podcasters, Bill, Sammy, Haynes, and Haskell, who would get together and they would draft things or come up with unique ideas for shows. And then every now and then we would do this sort of like larger draft, and they were really fun to do. They were very time consuming, but it was really fun. And we started coming up with these concepts. And one of them was, what if we drafted the ultimate SNL episode? So I think, I hope I got the timing correct, December 2022, maybe Victor in the chat will be able to help me and just if that was the right timing. But we were like 9 of us on the show, and we each had to pick a cold open, a monologue, a live sketch, a pre-tape, musical guest, weekend update host, maybe 10 to 1, I forget, and build out our own ultimate lineup. And once something was chosen, like let's say I chose Dick in a Box, gone. Nobody else can take it. So we did it as a show, and I think people really enjoyed it. And then I saw the rundown, and I was like, look, normally I don't think SNL is always watching what we're doing, but we had to inspire this idea somewhat. And I did really enjoy every moment that they had. I thought Mikey and Streeter were fantastic on the rundown. It was cool to get Dana Carvey there. I have no idea when they filmed that with Dana, but I was excited to see him. What have you thought of it?
I thought it was pretty fun. The having Questlove around, because he's probably even without his direct involvement, like with Ladies and Gentlemen, or the cameo in the hip hop roundtable, he's still the band leader. There's probably he probably has some perspective of the day-to-day operations. Now he's been the band leader for 17 years now, so he's got that perspective. So it was fun having that. And
by the way, Scott, he watched every episode of Saturday Night Live to prepare for Ladies and Gentlemen, the musical documentary. Right. So he had the whole thing to memory, basically.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Carvey being around, Carvey and Bowen, I don't know how much it dates it, like of when they actually made it, but
yeah, I saw that. I saw some questions of, well, if Dana was there and was in the studio, was this filmed during the 50th? I don't think so. I'd have to think that this is probably filmed during the fall. But if Dana was around and in the building sometime during the fall, again, how do you not get him onto Saturday Night Live? I know we had a lot of him last year, but I still find it utterly bizarre that he did not host during the 50th. And if he was hanging out at some point in 51, crazy to me that you don't find a way to get one of your greatest cast members ever into a sketch. Like if Eddie Murphy was just hanging out, they're going to find a way to get him in there.
Yeah. I was also wondering, what was something were you putting your own nominations in for the SNL Awards?
I did put my own nominations in for the SNL Awards. Was there a specific category that you wanted to get my take on?
Oh, I was wondering, what's something you nominated that didn't become a finalist?
That's a good question. Let me quickly try and find my ballot. So we had we had 12 different categories, and there was certainly, here you go. Okay. Looking through quickly. I think every one that I voted for was a finalist. Which is does show me that I do have the pulse of the audience a little bit as I look through, but not everything that I voted for won. Certainly, I didn't even come close to some of the cases. I got Rookie of the Year right with Jeremy, MVP Ashley, Breakout. I said Marcello, so I did get that right because I figured that Ashley wasn't going to get it. I was debating hard between Colin Jost and Marcello. Best Cold Open, I chose the New York City mayoral debate. That went to episode 20. Monologue, I chose Powell, I think, and it went to Gosling. Best Live Sketch, I chose MAGA Mom. That one went to Passing Notes. Pre-tape, Tidy Care, Kitty Litter. That one was the Home Alone. I chose two people who just hooked up on updates. That was that was Tucker Carlson. Manchild I got. Best Host, I think I chose Powell. That went to Gosling. Episode, I did choose Gosling. That was correct. And then Cameo, I chose Forte, and that went to Aziz.
Yeah, I had gone with Husbands for the best sketch.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, it's you know what, we had a lot of votes, so it could have gone any direction. I was really appreciative of how many people voted.
Yeah, that was it. It was still great, and I'm glad it happened at all.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the format this year that we did it.
Mm-hmm. And getting back to the finale, the thing is, just because the finale was imbalanced by, I guess, the length of the joke swap, And just because there was so much cut for time stuff that was good, doesn't mean the episode was, at least this episode, was not bad. It's just that when 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 the length caught makes everything when the length of one sketch pushes everything out, you're gonna lose some good stuff.
I'm with you. And also, I think they do that a lot in Will Ferrell episodes. So the joke swap had nothing to do with Ferrell, but he often has very long sketches. So we don't get a lot of the material there.
Like, he had Celebrity Jeopardy and Good Night Saigon.
Yeah. Just cover that episode on That Week in SNL. So I got to rewatch it again. You're watching. It's a great episode to me. I like it a lot more than Andy Dick, but I do feel that the episode could have used more material for the cast, certainly. So that's that season 34 finale. But yeah, it's a great point, Scott. It's great to have you on the show. I know we have some people in the background who are waiting to come on next. I just want to know if there's anything else that you want to touch on with me while you're here.
Oh yeah. With Cutie got was SNL UK monologue. When he went and assided about how he didn't understand the Billy Piper regeneration either. Showrunner Russell T Davies was recently at a radio interview where, and he was talking about, he was asked when we're going to get updates about the future of the show, and he says there's a press release that's going through all the places it has to go before it can be announced, and that press release should make its way in the next week or two.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. If anyone's a Doctor Who fan, they'll be able to get more information there. But yeah, Scott, I'm so happy to have you back in our Patreon community this year. Thank you for joining all the shows, and hope we get a chat again this summer.
I look forward to it.
Okay. Thanks, buddy. We're going to talk soon. All right. That was fun. Great to get to talk to Scott. He's awesome. And if you haven't checked out Scott's blog, make sure to do that. Look him up. He writes incredibly. So always appreciative to have Scott a part of our community. And let's bring in my friend Deej is here. Deej, what's happening?
It's Canada time.
Yeah, go Canada.
Yay. No, life is good. Weather out and be out. Keep it on. And Saturday Night Ladies has completed our first full season coverage of an SNL season, which is awesome.
Congrats.
So, yeah. So I think we did pretty good.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was listening. I didn't get to listen to every single episode just because sometimes my weeks are just insane during the season. But I did try and listen to a bunch. And getting the three of you on the show together and like adding in Demi with you and Shari, like it was so cool. I love all you guys. Like it's so great to get to hear your perspective, and I think what you're doing is fantastic. So great job.
Well, you were my inspiration, John. So you are the grand podfather. So
thank you so much. I'm glad I could inspire the women to make a podcast. So I appreciate it.
Well, you've inspired me. You didn't inspire We Hard Hater. So you've always been a great supporter, which is why I'm very glad to support Saturday Night Network.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. So how are you feeling right now about the season overall, looking back?
Okay, well, I was a bit sad going into the season with the loss of Michael Longfellow. There were tears shed on my part because I did love him so much. But I now have my new Comfort Cast member in Jeremy Culhane.
Great. Okay, I thought you were going to say Tommy for a second, and I was like,
no,
you know how to pick him.
Look, Tommy. Tommy's good to look at, but Jeremy feels like to me the guy who gives like the best hugs ever.
I can see that.
Yeah, but no, I just when he did Tucker Carlson this year, that just totally blew me away. And him being Rookie of the Year for the awards here I voted for him for that, definitely. And I like Veronica getting a lot more stuff in. So there's two highlights for this year at SNL in general. SNL UK. Absolutely awesome. I randomly get how Irish is your granddad stuck in my head on a loop. It was just happening today. And I just love everything they put out there. We're going to be talking about those episodes on Saturday Night Ladies. And then for local SNL, what I'm calling the fantabulous redemption of one Jane Wickline.
Right. That I think is maybe the most intriguing storyline. Obviously, the Ashley stuff is the front page news.
Yes.
But for you, who does cover the women of this show as good as anybody, how do you feel about Jane's rise this season?
I have been a supporter of Jane since the beginning. I have always defended her. And okay, yes, she was a little bit stiff and looking at cue cards in the lifeguard sketch, but she still had some great moments in that. And as has been mentioned on many podcasts, that sometimes with SNL, you just have to find your person. And I think that Jane Wickline has found her person in Veronica, because they're doing a lot of great stuff together, and they're sort of be able to work with each other creatively. They even did that one Cyber Monday song on TikTok in the off season, and she's making so many nice breakout roles, some different characters on the update desk. The one big thing for me was in the Harry Styles episode in the courtroom, of how she was reading back the transcript of the my father thing, and she did. I'm surprised she wasn't included in the auctioneer sketch, because she just rattled that off, no problem, just did not trip up one bit. And she's also been brought in a lot this season, just sort of add a punch to the end of either the end of the sketch, like in the karate school sketch, or what was the other one, or when she does the one line and then goes off, which is not a bad thing. It's
Yeah, she did that in the bachelorette party strippers sketch as well. That's interesting what you said about the auction thing, because I would never have thought of that, because they're talking so quickly.
Yeah.
And Jane is almost the antithesis to that, where she talks so slow and dry. So had she been there and pulled it off, I think I may have said this is the greatest thing I've ever seen from her, because I didn't know that she had that gear. But
Yeah.
it's a great thought.
Yeah. But I've never understood the hate. I mean, there's some cast members, female and male cast members, I like more than others. But I never outright hate anybody. And as we have commented on our podcast, a lot of extra criticism and hate goes towards female cast members.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, look, I've never watched the show and said to myself, oh, I hate this person. Like, that's not who it is. I really try and watch the show for what they give me on the screen.
Yeah.
I think it's fun every now and then to talk about who they are as people and get to know them even more. And especially, you know, when you put yourself out there, like, look, Chloe's a great example here of somebody who does put themselves out there more on social media. So naturally, there's going to be more to criticize. You could say that about anybody. But I think the thing for Jane was tough was just that she had a very slow start. I think that a lot of people who saw her on TikTok came to the show and said, oh, great, now she's doing the stuff that I like already on the show, then I can support her. But for anyone who didn't see it and didn't really get her fully, I think they had the right to be like, look, she's kind of dry and monotone, and I want energy and excitement in my Saturday Night Live. So I think that was sort of the imbalance there. But it did seem that there was sort of a disproportional feeling to how people judged Jane, where she was either somebody that you were diehard for or somebody that you, I guess, hated. And I didn't get that at all either.
Yeah. And SNL is a really tough environment, because you're on live TV, you deal with constant changes, you deal with cue cards. It was a learning curve in everything. Like Bill Hader's first season, as a comparison, it was kind of sketchy there, but he kept, well, pardon the pun, he was getting improved from season to season. But once John Mulaney came in, he had someone that he could connect with. Same thing with Veronica and Jane. So I think those two have been so good for each other, because it's someone around her age as well. So that's another way they can relate. And people, the complaint about cue cards always gets me, and I always encourage people to watch behind those series of films they did prior to season 50 on different aspects of SNL. The one on the cue cards, how they explain how they're used and where they're located, and all the different changes that they go up into right in the last minute. I mean, anyone who's criticized someone for looking at cue cards, I would like them to actually try and see if they could do the same thing.
Right. I get what you're saying. I kind of disagree a little bit, Deej, only in that I think that there should be some grace afforded to people who first come on the show and are doing something completely foreign to them. Learning how to read cue cards is hard. I think I said something about Hamed Animashan's eye line during that movies sketch in that first Tina Fey UK episode, where I was like, he's kind of looking in like a weird angle towards his other castmates. And I think it's fine for us to acknowledge these things without hating on them. I do think, though, once you've been at the show for 8, 9, 10 episodes and you're starting to get the hang of the whole thing, then you have cue card problems. That's when I'm like, hey, maybe you're just not good at the show. And I think we're allowed to say that if they've been there for a while.
Oh, yeah. But she's been getting better at that. So a first year of a cast member is hard for anybody. That she made, I know there's all people who are so upset, like, well, these people are like, oh, why is she still there? They obviously still see some value in her. They want to develop her, and then just bring in Veronica just for a general, and them working together. It's been absolute magic. That White Castle drive-through, absolutely perfect together. So, but I just so glad to see her doing so well and be able to continue. And we are over at Saturday Night Ladies. We're always what we call Justice for Jane. And I don't know if anything's going to happen from this. I sent a DM via Instagram to see if she'd like to be on Saturday Night Ladies. It may not come to fruition. I don't know, but at least you lose 100% of the shots you don't take. So I took that shot. So
I'm with you, Deej. I always say it's better to regret doing something than not doing something. So just go for it. And that would be a fantastic get. So I hope, if not this year, one day that does happen, because she definitely probably really values having people like you out there fighting for her to be on the show. Yes. So I appreciate your insight here tonight, and for your continued support all season long. It's so great to get to talk to you. I think you almost join us every feedback show. So it's been so cool to catch up with you. Awesome.
So,
anything else you want to ask me?
Not for, I don't think, SNL UK. I just finished listening today to the season rundown that you did on Monday.
Cool.
And I
gave you a lot to listen to the last week.
Yeah. Well, even the one before that was season 51. That pretty much got me through most of my work day.
Amazing. Well, I'm grateful that you did listen to it.
It was great insights. And the other thing I love from you this year was the 1 year later, the 10 years, 30, what was it, 10 years later, 33? Wait, 20 years later.
20 years later. Yeah.
Continue that. I love it. Love to be on it next year, maybe. But otherwise, that it is so good to get these kind of insights from people who really enjoyed that particular era. And because you and Sammy K, magic together.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much. All right, Deej. Well, we will talk to you soon, and hope you have a good start to your summer.
Okay, just one little quick note for the summer. We're going to go, both shows, Sweetheart Hater and Saturday Night Ladies, are going to alternate every other week for episodes until the new season starts. So come on and join us and listen. Thank you so much, and see you next time.
Thanks, Deej. Appreciate you. All right, let's bring in our friend who's coming into the next portion of our program. Our man in the chat always, but joins the podcast this time. It is Victor Higgins. Victor, what's up?
Hey, John. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Did I read or hear that you graduated from high school, or was it?
Yeah, I graduated high school. Yeah, yesterday I graduated. Yesterday.
Congratulations. That's awesome, buddy.
Thank you. Got to show to work this.
Oh my God, that's awesome, dude. That's amazing. Ooh, congratulations.
Okay. It just fell, but I'm gonna take my headphones off real quick. But I also want to show you my shirt.
Okay. No problem. Yeah, Victor is showing off his shirts that of seniors final tour. He got a final tour short from his graduating class. That's amazing, Victor. I'm really happy for you. I remember watching the Betty White Jay-Z episode to age myself a little bit when I was headed towards my graduation, and I was like, oh man, this is so cool. Like SNL is just like it's a great year. It's been really fun, and then graduating as well. So I think you're always going to remember season 51 as being the year that you graduated high school.
Yeah, it's great too, because how kind of this season was kind of a big transition year. Same with my school, because the big final seniors of my school, because they're going to combine like one school as well as another afterwards. So like best of luck to all those people. So yeah, I'm kind of like making history as well with that. So that's great.
That's incredible. Are you excited for college next year? Are you ready?
I'm terrified in a great way, but I am ready. Yes.
Okay. Do you think you're going to get to watch SNL on Saturday nights, or are you going to be too busy partying in college?
We'll see, because I'm kind of that like introverted type guy. But if someone joins me, I will gladly do it. Who knows? I could be the patron feedback show, and I could like at my dorm, and someone will be in the corner. I'll be like, "Hey, say hello to this guy," and they'll be like, "So."
Yeah, Victor's going to be coming on the feedback show. He's going to be like all hungover from his college partying every time, just like wanting to talk about like Jane Wickline and Veronica and stuff.
Right.
But yeah, it'll be a great time next year. Yeah,
Veronica, my wife. Don't tell Kyle.
I won't, for sure. Victor, any questions you have for me from what you've seen from both seasons wrapping up, UK, US, or anything you saw on the podcast last year?
We'll kind of answer the question Aubrey you asked me when in my infamous first time joining you guys, before you asked like, "Oh, hey, what's your favorite moments from the podcast?" One thing I really liked from 51 is just the overall like new guests that you guys had. Of course, you have Tucker from Big Brother, both Justin Desolette and Gardner, Jeremy Dove. Who else was there? Oh, Olivia and
Rachel Wonder.
Yeah. Yes, them joining the podcast, and someone else who I'm forgetting that was there. But yeah, like just all these like new people that you've been bringing in have been so cool. And of course, getting to meet all these amazing new friends in the chat, and just seeing the chat in general. It feels so real when I'm here and not there. But it's really
I know it's very weird because I always like, you're such a staple in the live chat, and I don't want to put pressure on you to always be there, but whenever I do see you there, it's like so comforting for me to know that you're hanging out, and it's like, oh yeah, all right, at least we've got somebody hanging out watching our show live. And but yeah, it's great to get to talk to you as well. And yeah, I mean, this year I sort of said, especially as we got towards like the Christmas season, where I find that the SNL season for podcasting, everyone is so excited for the seasons to start, and then we get through all the October shows and the November shows, and by December, leading up to Christmas, it's usually a little bit of a slog because we've done so many episodes in such a short period of time. So I was hoping to be able to inject some new blood into the shows and just have some new fun people show up every now and then. So I'm glad you were able to enjoy all the new voices that we got on the show this year.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's been a great year, because now I mean, he's not here right now, but over Simplified Productions, aka Johnny Watson, he like told me like, "Hey, you want to do a podcast?" I said, "Damn, what do I have to lose?" So I got that now. And of course, Deej, Demi, and Charlie having me on their podcast, Ajax having me on his podcast, and he also be a guest on my podcast real soon, and just a whole bunch of other people that I've been glad to speak with, and very thankful for it. And just thank you all. It's been like so great.
Oh, dude, it's my pleasure. I mean, this is the greatest joy of my life, because I really feel that when I started the show, I was just trying to replicate my high school experience. I just wanted to be able to say like, what if I could watch my favorite show with other people who enjoyed it as well? And the fact that all of you are becoming friends and going on each other's shows and just like chatting about this is so great for me. So that's really all I could ask for. And whenever one day, hopefully not for a long time, but whenever one day this whole thing ends, I think these are the moments that I'll look back on and just be like, all right, that was like a really cool thing that we all did. So thanks for being a part of it and being such a cheerleader for the show all the time.
Of course. And I didn't really have like a full-on question, so we can't go to a mailbag, but just kind of a simple, easy question. But like, out of all the Saturday Night Network seasons that you have done, from 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, and 51, how would you like rank those seasons? And I want everyone in the live chat to participate as well, because
rank the seasons like that, like the actual SNL seasons. I would say, yeah, I think 46 was probably at the bottom. It was really tough for me. I think I've seen like some of our producers have been talking about season 47 as being better than we remembered it. But I would probably say there is, for me, I would go season 46, 47, 50, 49, 48, 51. Yeah.
Hopefully 50 has to be at the top.
Yeah, 51 at the top for sure. And then I'd say 48 was the second best one, if I wasn't clear, because I think there was just like this incredible run in 48 that I hadn't seen. And I compared a lot to, this is a very like super fan type conversation, but I compared 48 to 50 as like its own mini era. Sort of like 28 to 30 when Will Ferrell leaves the show. But I think like, losing Kate and 80 and Cecily eventually, the beginning of 48 feels really cool and fresh. And then I think they lose that a little bit on 49 and 50. But this year, once again, it was just very cool to feel so fresh and have the show just exciting week after week. that I do hope that continues into 52 and beyond. Victor, do we still have you? You're a little bit frozen on my end, so I just want to make sure I can still hear you.
Oh, do you have me? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, what about you? How do you feel about the seasons that we covered?
Yeah, there you go. I know what's happening there. Darn Wi-Fi. But yeah, I would say 40. Actually, I'll start saying 49 over 48 because I feel like that season overall had like some really strong episodes, even if the overall quality was just like kind of okay. But I think 49, 48, 51. I always kind of flip flop between 46 and 47, but I guess I'll probably say 47 because I feel like 46 has some episodes I really did not love, but like 47 was kind of like consistently like average for me. So I guess 47, 46, and then unfortunately 50 because I didn't really love the season. I love the anniversary stuff, but the overall season I would just kind of like could be better, but like I get what it gave.
Yeah, I just think that maybe, I don't know, maybe it'll feel different about it in retrospect, but 46 and 47, when we're dealing with all the COVID stuff, it just feels like such a dark time. I was having so much fun starting up the podcast, and that was the most enjoyable part of this very weird situation we were all stuck in. But I just think the episodes were in a rough spot. And for me, it came after a time where I feel like the show was just running on fumes with all of the Trump stuff with Alec. So it was just not my favorite period of SNL. And I think we're honestly still too close to it to be able to properly understand how we feel about that era. But I wonder if we're going to look at that sort of time between 44 and 47 as the dark ages of Saturday Night Live in the future. Whereas I know we have the really sort of notoriously bad seasons with 6, 11, and 20. But I wonder if we're going to look at this period maybe in 10 years or 15 years as being like, all right, now, like nobody really wants to go back to those times.
Yeah, that's a fair kind of stuff for political reasons. I'd even always be biased towards 44 because obviously that was my first like season watching the show. Even 45 was technically my first like real show during 44.
Yeah.
So I'm always be biased toward that because that's just how fans work.
Well, that makes sense though, because anyone who finds the show for the first time in any season, even if you started watching in season 20, you're gonna be like, all right, this is really cool. Yeah. So I think I totally get that.
I love me some Morwenna Banks, man. I love Chris Elliott. I love Jeannie Gruff. I love all of them all.
100%. Also good. But yeah, seriously, Victor, thank you again for everything that you do for the SNN. Really appreciate you being such a champion for us, and I'm so proud to have you a part of our community. So thank you for joining us again here tonight.
Of course, I really hope I could join for the sketch thing because I just saw my Patreon went down, or my Patreon went down. So hopefully I could join before the bookings start happening. So
no worries. Yeah, we're probably gonna put out that form tomorrow or Friday. But yeah, we'll keep that up for a little bit so people, if they want to register for later in the summer, they can as well. So we'll try our best to get you on. And if there's any problem, just send me a message. Okay.
Okay. Take care, John.
Thanks, Victor. Appreciate you. All right, great show we've been having here so far. Happy to continue it right now. We got our friend Stevie that's going to be joining us here. Stevie, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Stevie, is this the first time you are coming on the podcast?
Yes, it is. My camera wasn't working earlier today. Like just literally like 10, 20 minutes, and I almost didn't even like show up. So apologies if I'm a little unprepared, but
it's okay. I think are you coming to us from Mr. Robinson's neighborhood? Is that?
Yep. Yep. That's exactly where I'm from. He's not here right now though, but
no, he's not here. Neither is Mr. Landlord. But Stevie, happy to get you on the show. Thanks for joining us. How did you find the SNN?
At first I thought it was when you guys did kind of like summary breakdowns of each season, but then you guys interviewed Robin Duke, right?
We never interviewed Robin Duke actually. I did on the red carpet maybe at the 50th, but I didn't personally interview Robin Duke. I know that our friends at the SNL Hall of Fame, I think maybe spoke to her. Yeah, we were on that, but there's a lot of cross connection in the SNL podcasting universe.
Okay, so
yeah. Well, is there anything you would like to ask me about this season?
I don't know if it's so much of this season. It's kind of a question I've always been curious of other people's opinion because I've had this opinion that some people would have pushback against. There's more people like on the cast than there were like in the old days, and would it be a hot take to say that SNL should be 2 hours?
I think so. But I love it. I mean, I think that's an unconventional viewpoint. So you're saying, because Stevie, the coldest take in the world is that the cast is too large. So you're saying that instead of reducing the cast size, let's increase the episode length so we can see these people even more, which for some reason in 600 podcasts, I don't think has ever come up.
Really, because I would mention in like the comments of like YouTube videos, and people would say like it's so hectic there, and I don't know if it would create some weird like another chaotic force that would make it more crazy. But like I always think, because there's always cut for time sketches, there's always stuff that never gets out there, and I think it would be kind of cool to get some like maybe some like old veterans thrown in there just every now and then, like Tim Kazurinsky on like Weekend Update is oh god, I'm sorry, I'm like
Badovsky.
Mr. Badovsky. Yep. All right.
Yeah,
that's actually kind of go ahead.
No, you go.
Oh, that's kind of how I was introduced to this show. Comedy Central was pretty new and they were showing the reruns, and it was an episode of Mr. Robinson's Neighborhood when he had the drum set and Mr. T shows up. So that's how I became a fan. But
got it.
And this is in the early 90s.
We did interview Tim Kazurinsky last year, so I think if you haven't seen that one,
I did catch some of that. That was cool.
That's very cool. Well, let me just say, Stevie, I really like the idea. I think the downside to the idea is just simply that there's already so much that goes into the show. Is it possible they lose energy? And I guess it's a good question for people who go to dress rehearsal all the time, because dress rehearsal typically is around 2 hours. So it would remove the dress to live combo, unless you're also suggesting to extend dress rehearsal even further. Is that what you're saying?
Kind of, just to, I don't know, I'm sorry, I'm a little unprepared. This is like my first time here, but
no, you're doing great. Don't even worry. It's you're doing fantastic. It's not easy to come onto a podcast and give takes and talk in front of people. So it may look this way, but I totally resonate with everything you're saying, and I love that you have a creative, fun idea for the show. I think that then, to answer your question, it would just sort of mess with the format a little bit. Look, I think that when one day Lauren is no longer running the show, they will try and experiment with other things. I think it's interesting that they tried a shorter SNL in the UK, which is about 10 minutes shorter in terms of runtime than what we get over here. And it does feel very punchy. So it's almost a little counterintuitive to think of what a longer Saturday Night Live would look like. But I think I'm with you. We are definitely not at the place we were a few years back where we had 21 cast members. So 16 feels better. But yeah, I would love if we were 13, 14 at least, because at least that way you feel that you're not worried about shutouts every night.
Because I literally do not remember what comes on after SNL after that.
Oh,
like it's just like
1 a.m. Yeah.
Like some travel like infomercial or something, but
yeah, it's they've always changed. Sometimes they'll take like NBC sitcoms that they want to promote, like Stumble or something like that, and they'll put them in that.
They used to. I remember like about 20 or so years, I think they used to show like SCTV reruns right after a new episode of SNL and stuff.
You're completely correct. Yeah, I think. Look, I think everything is going to be on the table in the future. I do wonder if the show does move to a streaming service eventually. Like, I don't know what the future of linear television is. Are we talking about there being linear television in 10, 20, 25 years? Like, eventually, if the show is going to continue, and I do feel like the show is, can last forever. The format is so good that they're going to have to change some things. And if it goes directly to streaming, are they then limited to saying, hey, this is 90 minutes every week? Or are we going to say it's approximately 80, approximately 100, whatever it is? I would always like there to be parameters, but I'm fine with them changing the parameters if they end up going fully to streaming.
Yeah. I know they've like shortened the show before. I think they did that with season 6. I think they moved it from like 90 to like an hour. But
I think, and season 6 is, a lot of people don't like season 6 for the cast members.
Oh, I hyper fixate on that season. It's one of those like, man, how things could be different if this was placed here or this. But
Sure. Yeah. I think what people don't talk about from that season, and now I want to shout out our friends Thomas and Jeremy who are covering that season right now for the Not Ready for Primetime podcast. What people don't talk about enough is there is so many sketches in an episode of those seasons. They probably have like 20 segments per episode. So all the sketches are so much shorter. And I'm good with that every now and then, but they just throw every single idea they have into an episode. And for me, that probably hurt the show more than anything else. But I love the question. I love the creative idea. And, you know, that's what being a great fan of this show is just questioning conventional wisdom, Stevie, and not just saying like, all right, well, we've done it for 51 years. We have to continue to do it this way. I would love the show to continue to get better. So I'm appreciative that you brought it to the table.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I've been on and off watching SNL for about since the early night. I forget how long ago that is. So, but there's a lot of gaps in my knowledge. So it's good to like have a show that's like really, so I can like kind of stay in the loop still. I mean, I watch the new episodes now, but
yeah,
you guys have a lot of information on like seasons that I missed a lot in like the early 2000s, or maybe some like the mid 2010s. I missed some episodes, but
yeah, and that's totally fine. Look, I understand sometimes could be daunting to come into a community where it feels like everybody knows everything about this show. And if
you guys know, like it's insane how much you guys know. Like it's just.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. But I hope you never feel, or anyone who's listening never feels excluded from the conversation if they don't know or have a knowledge gap, for example, in one era of the show. Because for me, like for sure, there's always opportunities to learn, but your opinion is just as valid, even if you have just watched the last few years of the show. This show runs literally on the fans. There's no show without us. So I'm just happy to have you a part of us no matter what.
Cool. Yeah. I appreciate that. This is a cool community though.
Thank you. That's really nice. And I hope you come back. Seriously, I know, like I said, it's not easy to be on a podcast and come and talk to people on the show.
I have called into shows before, but it's like one where I don't like panel up or something or cam up or whatever, but
got it. Yeah. Well, look, I always say that it's very easy to give your opinion when you're not on camera and you're not like on a microphone to talk. It's much, much harder when you have the pressure of just saying how you're feeling and then you're kind of like representing a certain viewpoint. So I think you just coming on, it's super brave, and I'm appreciative to have you, and I hope you come back.
All right, cool. Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. Anytime. Don't be a stranger at all, Stevie. You can reach out and message me anytime. Okay.
All right.
Talk soon. All right, let's keep this show going. So much fun we're having here tonight. Can't wait to bring on our buddy Matt is here next at Urban Shocker. Matt, how you doing, man?
John, doing good. Sorry about your Habs. I was rooting for them. And
I could see you in the chat during some of the shows.
As a long-suffering Vancouver Canucks fan, I know all about losing the playoffs, so I totally understand. And I didn't want to spoil it. I think the last one you did was during Game 7, I think it was.
Game 7. I think
Game 5. Game 5 of the Carolina series, and I didn't want to spoil it for you that they weren't doing too well. So I'm like, I don't want to make John mad. Well, I'm just gonna leave it alone. He'll figure it out later. It's fine. So
you were fine. There was a couple. Yeah. I would be lying if I didn't say that there was a couple of shows in the last month where I had my phone off to the side, just kind of keeping an eye on what was going on, but like not trying to be distracted. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Like these things are happening. Yeah. I'll tell you, like. I'm as big of a basketball fan as I am any sport.
Yep.
Game one.
I'm gonna have the Knicks game on in a minute. So yeah.
I know. Game one of the finals starts momentarily. So I will be keeping an eye on it for the next hour and a half while we're doing the show, and then we'll run upstairs to watch in about an hour and a half. But
sports ball corner right here. Yes.
Yeah. We could do this anytime. We could talk sports.
I could do this forever. Yes, I could.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, is there anything any SNL related things you want to talk about?
Yeah. So I mean, I thought it was a good season. I think there really weren't any true duds this year, which was good. I think you could probably say there was something redeeming in just about every episode, which you can't always say in an SNL season. So that was one reason. I think it was a good season. I think the other is I liked the acting this season, which kind of sounds weird, but I thought the performers were better actors. Like someone like Ashley is a fantastic comedic actress, and some of the stuff she was doing was more acting than even comedy. Like the Sarah Sherman, the auctioneer sketch. Like to me, that was fantastic acting for her. And even if it was, it was funny, of course, but it was. I like that they kind of leaned into that a little bit and embraced that kind of made it not really a stand-up thing or something like that. I think they really leaned into more acting, especially for someone like Ashley. I think that really worked for her. So I think that's this season is really the Ashley Padilla season. I knew she was going to be better with Heidi and Ego leaving. You knew she was going to have more of a say in the show. I didn't think she'd take this leap, but she really did take a huge leap this year, and she was fantastic. So I'll remember this season for her more than anything else.
I think we all will, and I think sometimes we talk about like who would make the DVD cover of the season. There's no question here, but I love your point about the acting, because I think that was the main storyline of what we saw from that Damon episode, where even if Ashley was just in pre-tapes, just her acting alongside him was so cool, and it makes me think about hosts for 52 that I would love to see. And one name at the top of the list, I'd love to get Emma Stone back to host, because when she's there, she's such an incredible actress that, I mean, imagine her alongside Ashley. That's the type of pairing you could dream of. But it makes you also think when they're looking for auditioners this summer, when you're trying to decide, all right, like between this person and this person for the cast, maybe the person with more acting chops or acting experience might be the way to go, because you can mold them into comedy.
Yeah. And I think that's what hurt, like some of those like mid 90s seasons that you guys were doing, the Everything You Need to Know stuff about. A lot of those just had comedians on, and a lot of them didn't really have people who could be comedic actors and do that. And so it kind of hurt the show a little bit. And I think that really they should really lean into more of, Groundlings folks who know like comedy sketches and kind of more of maybe not an actor background necessarily, but people who can kind of do that, would really be, I think, beneficial to what they're doing and going forward. And like you're saying, like getting the hosts that maybe can go off of that too. I don't know if you saw Amy Poehler's podcast she had on Tom Holland. And Tom Holland, she asked him, hey, why have you never hosted SNL? And he said, well, because I'm really dyslexic and I don't know if I would be able to do the cue cards, which I thought was very interesting. But like, I'm sure they've done that before. Like, I'm sure other folks have been dyslexic and they've worked with that. But yeah,
Punky was famously dyslexic when she was on the show, and she came on to our show and talked all about how she had trouble reading the cue cards, and she thinks that's what hurt her at the show. But I think when it comes to an SNL host, it is so different. And I mean, a few people sent me TJ sent me that clip earlier today, and he was like, did you see this? And I to me, I kind of feel like with the big blockbuster movies, I know he said he wouldn't do it, but the fact that he's willing to talk about it publicly makes me feel like he's going to host the 52. I don't know if I'm like sick and I just like, I'm like, well,
no, I think he'd be a good host.
Yeah. I was like, well, but now I want to see him more. Yeah. So I think he'd be a great host, even regardless. And again, like, yes, there will be people who you will watch an SNL host and say like, they're kind of reading the cards, or like maybe they're not delivering their lines so smoothly, but he is an incredible actor. And if not here, let him do SNL UK.
Yeah.
I think that's an opportunity for him too.
Yep. Yeah. And as far as the UK show, like, I like how weird that show has become. Like, I like that it's got a British sensibility of being kind of off center, which is good. Like that they should, like, that's what they really should be doing is stuff like really kind of outside the box. 4 Acres is fantastic. I'm a big fan of 4 Acres now, because the guy just does all sorts of weird stuff and like fantastic. So so that, like, stuff like that, I think that should really go into too. And I thought it was a good starting season series for them to have them have that as a starting point. I don't know if they're going to expand the casts next year. I mean, maybe, but I don't know when. We'll probably know in August, like we would for the US version, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I don't know. I was supposed to talk to James Longman after the season, and the powers at SNL UK asked me if we could sort of delay this to the start of the preseason next year. So I was like, all right, like it would have been fun. Like I have a lot of questions. I want to know what he liked, what he thought worked, what he didn't, but maybe it's best not to put that out publicly until they make their decisions. But I think I guessed the other night that they're going to add one new cast member, sort of their Bill Murray, where they'll find somebody else that kind of fits in this original group, maybe a writer or maybe someone who's already in the cast, in the building. So, but yeah, how can you not be thrilled with what you saw? It was such a great 8 episodes, and I'm glad that they get more time now together.
Yeah, that's good too. I don't know if they're going to do like up to December and then a couple months off or whatever they're going to. I don't know the schedule there of how they're going to do 12. I think they're doing 12 next year, right?
Yeah, I haven't been told exactly what this schedule is. I assume they're going to sort of run through a similar schedule to SNL US, where typically in our SNL we get the 12th episode is like towards the end of January. So I think we're going to be looking at the same timeline. For my health, I would love if there wasn't all double headers every Saturday night. but we'll manage, and it's really fun. So I have been told a very soft maybe that they would consider expanding past the 12, but because to me, I think potential death sentence for SNL UK, Matt, is that if they end in January and don't start up series 3, if they're lucky to get one until September, that's a bad idea. I don't want that. So
they got to do 6. They got to do 6 and then a break and then another 6 to have it sometime in the spring, because you can't, if you're going to be off for that long, you might as well just be off for 10 years like Doctor Who was, I think. So you could probably just be off for a long time, if that happens. So
yeah, I have a lot of questions. I'm hoping we'll get those answers as we get towards the fall. But I'm gonna enjoy the break while we have it. Anything else you want to run by me while we have you on the show here tonight?
Do you have any tips on filling out the 100 greatest sketches thing? I did that Monday. I think it took me about 2.5 hours to go through everything. And because there's a lot of sketches, and I'm like, okay, which ones do I pick here? I was trying to do 2 per season, and then I'm like, well, I want to put, there was like some sketches. I'm like, these are both fantastic, and they were back to back, like in the same show. And I'm like, okay, I got to do that. So any tips for the folks filling that out?
Look, I understand that it's both overwhelming and exciting to see a list of 9,000 something sketches and choose 100. What I would say is that we put a minimum of 10. So at least do 10. That way you just have the 10 you want to see. But my thing that I believe is that the general public will get all of the big ones on, the ones that you would conventionally assume. But if it was me and I was listening to the countdown all summer and I had some of my favorite sketches and they didn't make it and I didn't vote for them, I would be annoyed. So I would rather people vote for sketches that they would be annoyed with if they didn't make the show, rather than saying like, here are the absolute greatest 100 sketches. Like, we assume more cowbell is going to make it. Like, do you need to vote for it? Sure. Maybe if you don't vote for it, does it get to its right spot? I don't know. But I would rather people be voting for the sketches that they really feel should be on the list rather than the conventional ones. And we'll get those on. Yeah,
there were definitely some I was like, I have to put this on here because it's one of my favorites or whatever it was. So I don't know if you're going to have the patrons on for those. We
will.
shows.
Okay. Definitely. We'll have those, and we're going to send out that form either tomorrow.
There are definitely
Friday.
A couple of episodes a couple of sketches I could talk for half an hour about. So
yeah, we're definitely going to do that. Plan is, I think I'm going to do things a little bit differently this year, where we're going to not do the 5-person panels that we were doing in previous seasons because like I kind of felt like it's a little bit overwhelming, and not everybody gets to share their opinion. I think what we'll do is that, like, let's say we're talking about 6 sketches in a night and we're having 2 patrons on with us. One person will come on and talk about the first 3 with Bill and I, and then the next person will come on and talk about the next 3. So that way you like each get time to properly talk about every sketch. So that'll be the plan. But Matt, thanks for joining us, and hope you get to enjoy the basketball game. I'll be right there with you in just a little bit.
I'm going to be putting it on right now. Yeah. All right.
Have a good one, and we'll chat soon, man. All right. Thanks. All right. Coming up next on the show is our friend Marcus is here. Let's bring in Marcus.
Hey, John. Great to be back here to finish off what is another great year of SNL Century for like the episode, and also SNL UK debuting as well.
Yeah, thanks for joining us once again, Marcus. How do you feel about the premieres and the seasons? The finales and the seasons now that we're through them?
I haven't got a chance to watch a lot of SNL UK that much essentially, but I did manage to see Will Ferrell's final episode in its entirety essentially, and I had to take a day off of work to actually watch it live with my grandmother, which is a tradition that I'm trying to do essentially. Like each season essentially, I probably watch the premiere, the end of year episode, and then the finale episode of the season. So
that's so nice though. How long has your grandmother been watching Saturday Night Live?
Oh, she's been watching it since all the way back in the original Not Ready for Primetime's Players era, which hasn't really aired a lot. It actually hasn't really aired at all in a while, actually, because mainly the earliest they've gone to was the post-Lorne Michaels, the Dick episode era, up to that point. So
yeah, how can we get your grandmother on the show? She seems really knowledgeable.
She's actually in a couple rooms down, actually.
Okay, well, if you no pressure, but one time when you call in, you got to call in with grandma, and so we can get to meet her and hear her takes.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
Sounds good. Do you have any questions for me? Anything that you want to talk about here?
Since we're talking about finales, essentially, I want to actually ask a similar question about of all the finales that you've seen from each season, either what you covered or however you want to answer this, essentially. How would you, let's just say for the sake of time here, the finales that you covered on the podcast, how would you rank them?
All right, let's so I'll do the US finale, so we won't count SNL UK from this year. So the season 46 finale that we first did in our first season was hosted by Anya Taylor-Joy. And I actually think that was the greatest finale we saw in maybe the worst season that we got to cover. That finale was outrageously good, in case you haven't gone back and seen it. So we were all just like enthralled that night and came on to our, I guess we weren't calling it the hot take show. I think we're calling it like the live after show or something then, but we came on and it was unbelievable the way that we saw that. So I would say that probably is number one. Natasha Lyonne, I'll just go through in order and I'll sort of like reorder them. But Natasha Lyonne, I think, was really more about the goodbyes that we saw to Kate and Aidy and Kyle and Pete. So that one was just okay for me. I do like the whole alien thing. Ana de Armas, I was actually at Saturday Night Live for. So that was one of the episodes I was backstage. So I have fond memories, but I'd say probably less special than Leon and less good than Anya Taylor-Joy. So right now I go 46, 47, 48, 49 finale with Gyllenhaal. I think that one was okay. I'd say maybe better than 47 in quality. So I'd say that one was fine. Scarlett Johansson was kind of mid. So yeah, and then this one I liked. I think maybe this was my third, if this makes sense. So yeah, if it's just on the spot, I would go 46 number one. I think I'd go Gyllenhaal and 49 number two. Then I would go Will Ferrell, Natasha Lyonne, Scarlett Johansson, then Ana de Armas.
Okay, yeah.
Does that track?
Yeah, that definitely makes sense, essentially, considering that I haven't really watched a lot of the episodes because 50, as I said, essentially was the very first season I actually watched in its entirety, by the way. So 51 is actually my second full season, essentially. I mean, despite the episodes I missed live, half of them live, essentially, this was the second season I actually watched the show from beginning to end, essentially, and hope to continue that tradition years to come.
How was that experience for you, like versus watching just random sketches? Do you feel like you got a better enjoyment of the show having watched everything from beginning to end?
I would say that I would say yes, essentially. I feel like I have a much deeper experience watching it all from beginning to end than compared to like watching random sketches or just watching episodes, like, every few episodes, every couple of weeks, essentially, and then, all of that. So
yeah, I get that. Not everybody has time to watch all the episodes, so I understand people who are like, hey, I'm just like a sketch only watch on TikTok type of person. But to me, there's nothing like watching the live show. It's just it's so much fun to be there and get to experience it. There's really limited times where we could all experience something as it's happening like that, and it's really cool moment. So I hope it never goes away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Marcus, is there anything else you wanted to ask me while you're here?
Not really. I don't think I have anything else to say.
Okay, well, I thank you for joining us so many times this season. It's always a blast to get to have you on the show. And
I've been in every single one this season, essentially. Ever since the 50 last season's thing, essentially, I've been in every single one thus far.
Yeah, you're a real one. You're completely dedicated, and I love it. And the show would not be the same without you. So I hope in 51 or 52 we continue to have you back every single time.
Absolutely. I will try to essentially do something like that. No promises, but I'm hoping to do that essentially.
Yeah,
so,
you got to bring Grandma next time. So
I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely do that.
Okay, sounds good. Well, enjoy your summer and don't be a stranger. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we will talk soon. All right, let's keep the show going and bring in the best voice in podcasting. It's Steve Bishop. Steve, how are you? Steve, do we?
So my audio is cut out. I apologize.
Okay, no problem.
Let me jump back on.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, go ahead and come back on. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for Steve to come back, I know we have a lot of questions that came in, so apologies for anyone who's waiting for me to answer their questions. All right, this one comes from @Ravy on Instagram. It said, thoughts on Jeremy's season and a potential dropout to SNL pipeline. Gotta think they're going to go back to the dropout pipeline. I mean, that's or pop line, if you want to say that. It is something that was so successful. So Jeremy's season, absolutely incredible. Definitely rookie of the year. Dropout to SNL pipeline. I wouldn't do it every year, so keep them honest. But I think every couple of years, you got to pick someone from Dropout. It just, you're too successful not to consider. Steve, do we have you back?
Yes, you do. Or at least, hopefully you hear me.
I hear you great. And as I said the first time, one of the best voices in podcasting is here with us, Steve Bishop. So
thank you.
Happy to have you on the show, buddy. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Happy to be back in the StreamYard. It was weird because I heard the end of your conversation with Marcus, and then as soon as you let him go, all of a sudden I didn't hear you, and I'm like, oh no. And so, but I'm glad.
Yeah, sorry about that. Sometimes StreamYard does some funky things, so I'm glad we were able to get you now, though.
It's also the first time I'm using the iPad, so that might have been the issue too. So,
oh, good. Well, while we do have you, would love to know if there's anything you want to chat with me about.
I had a couple of ideas for questions. I'm trying to think of which route I want to go. All right, well, let's go the sort of the SNL UK-ish route. And I will preface this by saying I am in no hurry to split up the SNL UK cast by any stretch of the imagination. But my question would be, because I imagine at some point there's going to be an SNL UK cast member that's going to make the move. At least that's my feeling. And I don't think it'll happen till season 54 or 55. Who do you think makes the easiest transition, or who makes the easiest transition to the US cast?
So you're saying makes the move, we're going to pull someone out of UK and put them in the US cast?
Possible, yeah. And I don't think it happens. I definitely don't think it happens this year. I think it's just I think it just depends upon how successful the SNL UK show, whether they continue into series 3, whether they continue beyond series 2.
Well, I would think that, Jack would be their first choice, and you might think maybe why not George, but I got to think that George's range and outreach is just so great that he's going to be pulled in a million directions. But it does feel like Jack is, I don't want to take away anything that he does outside the show because I don't know yet, but I just feel like he's specifically so made to be an SNL machine that I think Lorne would look at somebody like Jack and say, hey, this guy can do everything, and he's not going to take over the show in terms of spotlight. He'll have moments where he pops, but he's a good fit in with everybody, and he's super young. So I do kind of wonder if he's the right fit there. Do you have somebody you were thinking of?
Jack was definitely in my conversation that I was thinking of. I wasn't thinking George. I think George has more of an appeal to the other end of the pond. As much as I like George, and I think he's been great on the show, and he could very easily be their Phil Hartman of sorts to make that comp.
I compare Jack to Phil Hartman in a way because I find that Jack, Phil had this thing where he was just a workhorse at the show, but he was never the guy that wanted all the attention.
Right.
And I kind of feel that Jack has that. I know that some of his sketches are very out there, that they are look at me in terms of the characters, but I do feel that he's just in everything. And that is a Phil Hartman, maybe a Joe Piscopo-esque quality to being one of those cast members. So Yeah, that's a good one. I'd also say, look, I do think Annabelle is the type of cast member that the show would be looking for.
That was the other name I thought of. Well, there was actually one other name I thought of too. But Jack and Annabelle were two of the names I thought of. But the one name I really thought of was Emma Seedy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because why do you say Emma?
I just think I think just from her character work. I mean, I look at the Jenny Hesselbro character, and I know this is a very old comp, but that is a sketch that like, and this is again 40 years ago, I could have seen like Nora Dunn playing Jenny Hesselbro.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, she does feel like a little bit of a relic of an old era in a way. I think the show is gonna
As we move past that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it's weird. I can't see how she fits into the current show that I think she's so good for SNL UK. Some of those things, some of the people on the cast, I feel like could really fit in either show. But yeah, I mean, Emma, I would worry that she would almost get Sarah Shermaned, where they would neuter her voice. Like, think about her long finger jewelry sketch. Does that make it on in the US? Because Sarah's tried stuff like that. Go back to Michael B. Jordan with the roller coaster with the teeth and all that. Like, you know, you think of these things from years ago that she hasn't been able to do on the show in a few years. Emma, we might be saying, oh my God, she's so great for a year. And then they sort of turn her into the every woman. And I would hate that.
Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, to answer your question, I think that's at best that's a 10-1. I don't think it gets beyond. It's not. I don't think that's something that makes it to the early end of pre-updates, you know.
Yeah, so I almost feel like we want everybody to be at their best, and certainly Jack was that this year in the UK, but I think that translates really easily to the US. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I guess hopefully SNL UK doesn't have to have that problem where they can be on the show as long as they want and have their own thing. But it's fun for us here to think about it.
Yeah, it was sort of a thought exercise thing that I had, and again, I again, as I prefaced earlier, I am in no hurry to nuke SNL UK, and especially given that I haven't seen every episode yet. I've made it to the Nicola Conklin episode, and I'm probably going to finish the rest of the season over the week, the series over the weekend.
You're in for a treat. There's some good stuff coming up for you.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. And I've seen some of the clips, some of the YouTube clips, but I've not seen I've not seen the full episode all the way through. But I saw the first part of the Nicola Conklin episode, and I saw like Jimmy Fallon appear in a couple things, and I'm like, oh boy, did Jimmy co-host this with Nicola Conklin?
I would say he did. I just say that he was in it maybe one too many times, but I didn't. I don't think he co-hosted. But yeah, I just want to make sure because you said you had one other question, and I want to give you time to ask it to me.
Oh, this was another sort of thought exercise kind of question I had was, what sketches do you think automatically make it onto, not knowing what we're going to see down the road, what sketches automatically make it onto the best of Ashley Padilla? I guess not a DVD, it would just be a special or streaming special that they were to make when her career will be over.
Certainly MAGA Mom is there. Kathy, you had to put there. I would think Office Surprise and Haircut are shoo-ins. Maybe Olivia Rodrigo's Making X Jealous. And then you had to get a Weekend Update bit in there, so you're gonna get the two people who just hooked up. But yeah, there's probably some sleeper hits in there, like the one with Bad Bunny in the premiere that I don't know for sure makes it. Yeah, the passing notes sketch, I think like that's a question of like, hey, we really enjoyed that and it was novel, but did people like it more because of Gosling than Ashley? But yeah, did I miss any? Was there anything that you would see in there?
I think you hit all the high notes. I think, you know, there's the few that I think are very, very obvious. I was much higher on the X sketch than maybe, you know, maybe it was because it was at the end of the year. We've had hit after hit after hit with Ashley, and it was like maybe it just kind of got gathered into the crowd. I think
Steve, maybe that and the fact that it took place in the Rasta Driver episode with Andrew, that everyone was just talking about that because we're so excited to see Andrew again.
That's fair, and I was excited. I was excited to see that as well. It wasn't my favorite Andrew Dismukes bit, but it was still. I mean, I think that was one that really kind of grew on me more than anything else. That grew on me as I watched it in subsequent viewings. But I mean, I love that sketch, and my favorite aspect of that sketch is, when you're good, you get an assist from the gods. And my favorite part of that sketch is she begins that unhinged speech at the end. And as she starts the speech, a dollop of mashed potatoes falls off her face and falls into the drink and gets another pop. And it's like, when it's like when it's going good, sometimes you get the bounce.
Completely. I love the analogy because it's so true. And I feel like everything is working with her. There's so much momentum. And the show has to know that when people are getting to the TV at 11, 27, 28, and they're turning it on, what's Ashley going to do tonight? People are thinking about it. So I think that they're going to want to get as much of her as they can. And like even things like, the one that I probably left out that would be included would be maybe Mom the movie also. The thing we had in the Matt Damon episode as a pre-tape.
Yeah.
It probably got overshadowed by the kitty litter sketch, which was sort of a Damon, Ashley, James trio. But the Mom the movie thing was fantastic.
I think Mom the movie is more likely to make it than the kitty litter, because I think that's more of an ensemble piece between Matt Damon and Ashley and JJ's disembodied voice in the narration.
Yeah, and I'll just throw this out there. I think like maybe this is a future podcast, but how many people in SNL history can you say we can make a full DVD of sketches from one entire season? I think Ashley, maybe Wig, Eddie, yeah, Will Ferrell, Belushi, Chevy.
Yeah.
Like I think it's such a small list.
It's a very short list,
yeah, that it becomes great. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what we will, or how we will view this season once we have more data on her career down the road. Great question, Steve.
Yeah, and again, we don't know what we're going to get from her in season 52, 53, 54, and going forward. We're probably going to see a lot more. We hope we will see a lot more great stuff from her, and my expectation is we will. I mean, she's that seasoned of a player, so it's that is a good thought, because I'm saying the amount of people who would make it based on one season, I can count it on one hand.
Exactly. So, I did have a thought the other day that of another future podcast idea. I'll throw this out to you before you go tonight, which is like, I was wondering if I think Bill Simmons sometimes talks about the wine bottle theory of like, if you have a wine from a specific year. Some people collect, they're like, okay, here's like your 74, your 75, your 76. If we had to choose one cast member for every season of the show that was at their best, but you couldn't reuse them for any other seasons, is that like a fun podcast at some point to just be like, all right, well, we used Will Ferrell for season 23, so we can't use him for 22 or 24. Who are you gonna put there?
It is. It also feels a little bit like the SNL DVD idea, because you're thinking everything you need to know about SNL. You're gonna use Norm one season, you're probably not gonna. But I like the idea is it's an interesting one, and it's one that gets you thinking about, like, what was Anna Gasteyer's best year, what was Molly Shannon's best year, what was Piscopo's best year. That's I don't hate it.
Okay, I don't want to get too deep because my mind's gonna go everywhere. But I just think it's a giant puzzle, and I think somewhere Bill Kenny's listening to this, and he's like, "Oh my god, I know how to fit this all together." But we will. But it is definitely a future podcast idea. So I appreciate you indulging me on that. Thanks for joining us on the podcast here tonight. Always great to get to hear from you.
Great, John. Looking forward to being part of the 100 sketches. Hopefully, get a chance to do that over the summer.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon. Thanks, Steve. All right, let's keep the show going and bring in our friend. I haven't spoken to him in a while. Here's Michael. Michael, what's up?
Hello. How's everybody?
Doing fantastic. Michael, I think it's like at least a year since we've chatted.
Yeah, I was on with you and Sammy K of November of last season. So It's been a while, so I'm happy to be back. Cause like I'm determined by the end of 51 to get back on. So
yeah, well, thrilled to have you on and back with us, and thanks for making the effort to come back. So, how are you feeling about SNL right now?
I'm feeling really good. I was just thinking I'm like basking in the warm glow of season 51. SNL UK has been amazing. I enjoy watching that on Sundays. And also just the warm glow of the thousands of sketches on the spreadsheet as I've been working on.
Was it too much for you? Sorry.
My eyes started glazing over, but I'm like, all right, I'm going to highlight some stuff and then I'll go back in. And, the SNL archive is an amazing source for just everything. So yeah, I've been plunking in some deep cuts and some random things that we probably won't hear about, but it's
just do your best and have some fun with it. It's really a fun exercise. It's not meant to be overwhelming for everybody. So just try your best with it and put some sketches you want to see on the list on there. But Michael, is there anything you want to talk to me about or ask me?
Yeah, I was thinking about this season, and I think I'd like to give a little love to I was thinking about one of the underdogs of the season, and that's Josh O'Connor's episode. I love Josh O'Connor. I've seen most of his movies. I'm a big fan. And so I was very excited, when he was announced. It's like, okay, cool. Maybe not everybody knows who he is. I actually never really got into The Crown, but I've seen more of his movies. And so, yeah. And I know, like you said, John, it was kind of like a weird episode. And I rewatched it the other day. I don't rewatch a lot of the things, but I'm like, all right, I'm gonna rewatch it, and some things stuck out. Because I think he was great. I just wish they would have used him better. And I think he got overshadowed by Bowen because that was his second to last episode. So he's the Wizard of Oz, and he's the smart kid in college, and I did like the Dr. Please sketch with Josh, and of course the sensitive strippers was definitely a highlight of the season. But also a couple of things, like again, just 8 episodes into the season. Ashley had her turn as the old lady in the dating game show. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, here's the ascent is happening.
Yeah, I think that was maybe tough for some people, because once she was doing that, which I thought it was fine, but a lot of people were saying like, okay, now she's really going into the Wig McKinnon category of sketches. And I think, I love that you're defending the episode, or even better, defending the host, because I think sometimes we conflate great episode versus great host, or bad episode and bad host. And to me, Josh O'Connor was a very solid host. The episode itself wasn't so memorable, so I think it hurts his SNL legacy, but it doesn't mean that he wasn't a good host or didn't deserve a better episode.
Right. And I just felt like he was kind of moved to the background. Like he was the Tin Man, Tommy could have been the Tin Man, it just, which would have been fine, or something.
Right.
But I also
sometimes they'll bring Brits on the show, and then you watch them and they just show out. And I guess, I had a little bit of a question that week of, well, why are they putting him on the show now and not saving him for SNL UK, which is just a few months away, and perhaps he would have just fit in really well there. And it's not that we never want Brits on our show, but it was just so close, and I felt like there was sort of a good fit there. But yeah, I'm glad you're defending it.
Yeah, and I even think of like episode, like who would I want to host for next season? And it's like a couple of names. I'm like, well, actually, they'd be really good for UK because they're from that way.
Isn't that fun?
But just with this episode, also Jane and I forgot about the Stranger Things song that she did at Update, and I thought she was great in the sensitive stripper sketch. So Jane was also kind of on her ascent as well.
Right. That one I will admit, during the live coverage of that episode, I struggled with Jane during that episode, because I felt like the thing that she magically got so great at I didn't love during the sensitive stripper sketch.
Yeah.
I felt like her line delivery was a little bit awkward there. And I think that was maybe my lowest point for Jane Wickline, where I was like, oh, come on, like you've been there for so long. And so totally okay for us to have these different opinions, but I just like was really struggling in the moment. And looking back on it, maybe she needed to go through that to come out on the other side and just show out in the second half of the season. But if you saw something and you enjoyed it, your point is just as valid to me.
Yeah, no, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah, she's a little awkward, but it works and it's great. And the Stranger Things song was fun. So I guess just kind of related to this, I'm just wondering if there's a host that you were excited about that that you were kind of disappointed in the episode, maybe what they did for them. And then like on the flip side, if there was a host, and it could be this season or whenever, that you were kind of like, not as excited about, but then they surprised you.
Yeah, sure. I'd say, well, I'd say, yeah, I love the question. I think Coleman Domingo was somebody who I didn't really know how to feel about. I knew of him and I'd seen him in a few things, but I just really didn't have any strong opinion. I was glad we got more diversity on the hosting list this season. Yeah. But for me, I was just like, all right, like Coleman Domingo, let's see what the deal. And he just blew me away. So I think that that's an easy answer for me as somebody who I think was certainly a top 5 host of this year. And then I'd say one that I was really excited about that didn't necessarily live up to expectations as far as hosts, maybe Harry Styles, if I'm being honest. Am I allowed to say someone who's been there before?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was Harry for me, who I felt that, you know, he was there the week before for Gosling's monologue, and it was such a big moment. And I kind of loved the way they used Harry in the past. And I love all the One Direction stuff that they've done before the show. And I just felt like he's been there so many times. He's going to come. He's going to completely show out and just be this next great double duty host. And I didn't really feel like he brought it to the show. So I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah. No, and for me, like Ariana Grande and Sabrina Carpenter, like their music's not my thing. You know, I'm more of a Mumford & Sons, Noah Kahan, Gorillaz. You know, we talked about that earlier, you know, so their music's not really my thing. But as far as SNL, they're hilarious. They're great actors. They're just nice. They seem to be nice people, you know, so it's just like, okay, you know, even if I'm not into their work necessarily outside of the show, like I love that they're a part of the SNL, you know, community, the whole thing.
For sure. It was one of those points that I said on the roundtable when we were wrapping up the season, which is that I feel that the host booking choices this season were outstanding. Yeah. They did such a good job of finding a good blend. We got some alumni, some double duty. We got people who were young, people who were somewhat older. I don't think you could really ask for more as a fan beyond maybe, you know, I would prefer not to have the insane stretch of men in a row that we had in the second half of the season. Yeah. That was a little bit tough, but overall, I think as far as diversity and comedic stylings and sort of demographic in that sense, besides the gender portion, I do feel that there was a lot that we had here. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. Are you Michael, if I recall, you were doing some writing at some point about SNL, is that correct?
Yeah, I did. I talked about it the last time I was here, and I had reached out to you. I wrote an essay a few years ago for a live lit show. And it was a Valentine's show, and the theme was I Just Can't Quit You. And so that was my opportunity to talk about SNL. And so I will turn 52 in October, a few weeks after the premiere of season 52. So
love it.
My senior year in high school is season 17.
Okay.
So I kind of compared ages in the seasons and all of that. So yeah, I did write an essay, and I can, you know, re-add that to the socials and stuff. I have
please, yeah, no, online. I love that, because I just wanted to point it out, because I know we've had a lot of new patrons join the show since the last time you've been with us, and a lot of new people in the community. And if there's any way we could support you, it's always great to
thank you so much. Yeah, I'll put out links to some things, and I talk about I haven't been to the show yet. Still working on that. And I kind of list some people that I saw live in person or at other things or met. But since writing that essay, I did meet JAJ at when he was in Chicago here for one of his stand-up tours. It was during the strike. He had his strike beard, so his beard was thicker than mine when he was playing that night. So
Okay.
it was just kind of cool to see a different side of JAJ.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've seen him a couple times, and he's unbelievable. Just he totally like can do the one-man show and just impress in the entire night. So I'm glad that you got that experience, and I'm glad that you joined us here, Michael. I'm grateful to get to catch up with you.
Yeah, likewise. Thanks, John, and thanks for all you do. This has just been great. I catch every episode. Don't always listen live. I never make it through all of a hot take show live. I kind of conk out, but just thanks to you and the team and all the panelists, and hopefully I can join you guys over the summer for the episodes or the sketch
That would
show.
be amazing. So would love that, Michael, and thank you for your continued support of the SNN. Appreciate you.
Thanks, John. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Yeah. Thanks, Michael. All right, let's keep the show going. Let's bring in one of the coolest podcasters we have here in our community, and that is Ajax. What's up, man?
Well, hey, how's it going? I hope I live up to that. We'll see.
Yeah, no pressure, but
yeah, none.
happy to have you on the show, Ajax. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. I love it. I love the SNN. I love all the stuff you guys have been doing. I can't wait to see 26 tomorrow, right? That's gonna be great.
Yeah, would you believe it? 42 minutes of runtime. So you get I guess
right.
an hour-long show minus commercials tomorrow.
Hey, it's okay if we have to wait a little longer to get more of the show. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah. Do you really like that? Because I feel like sometimes people are like, just give me the show. I don't care if it's 10 minutes, but I want to put our best into it.
Quality is better than quantity sometimes, you know.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. So we're excited about that. I think we're looking at we're trying to get one out a month throughout the summer. So that's like the current plan with the schedule. So hoping we'll get you 27 at the start of July as well. But I hope people enjoy what we put out tomorrow. We worked hard on it. Yeah.
Okay.
So Ajax, any questions you want to ask us?
Well, I do have a thing. So I loved 51. When Ego and Heidi left, I thought we were in for some troubled times, but instead I was pleasantly surprised. The newbies, for the most part, are doing great. And of course, it's the reigning season of Ashley, the Queen. So I loved 51, but I wonder, as great as it was, I wonder how great it could have been. Ben, maybe if we had some more Ben. I was a little disappointed by his output. I gotta say, I was really, really hoping for some more Ben. And I think what it comes down to is the cut stuff. So Ian alluded to it earlier. I want to ask you, is it okay to talk non-canonical?
Of course. Yeah.
Can we do this?
It's your time. You talk about what you want to talk about.
Well, because I do have my top 5 SNL 51 cut for timepieces if you're interested.
Sure, they don't really exist, but
they don't. They're not real. They're in the ether somewhere, floating around in space. But here they are. So my number 5, I have a 2-way tie between Tall Plain Boyfriend and Dad's Birthday. So Tall Plain Boyfriend, I was shocked that this didn't get on. I loved it. I thought the chemistry between Sabrina and Ben was great. I thought the writing was fantastic, and the lines, some of the most lukewarm takes of all time. Sleeping feels so good when you're tired, you know. I love that line. I thought it was hilarious. The whole thing was great, and Tommy was okay in it.
Yeah, it was not. And by the way, you could also look at this list as the top 5 mistakes SNL made this year, not putting these on the live show.
There you go. Exactly. Now there is one on this list where I understand, but I'll get to that. So Dad's Birthday from Will Ferrell. I Ashley in a mustache just got me. I love it, but Will Ferrell just repeating over and over again, I want to go to Brandon's. Like, I love the choice of name too, because I have several friends named Brandon, and I just love the idea that that was his goal, and he was just such an ornery kid. But number 4, I have a 2-way tie between Tourette's and The Incident. Now, Tourette's, of course, sensitive subject matter here, and there was some mixed messaging making light of it. So I get why this was cut if it wasn't for time, as they say. But the fact that we got a Judge Louis C.K. impression, Keenan doing Bill Cosby, and of all things, Andrew doing Mel Gibson. What? I just think that's great. And of course, you had to have a controversial subject matter to bring up controversial impressions, right? So I don't think they did the best with it, but the fact that we got those impressions, it can't be lost. The Incident, we got Sarah being Sarah, in this Cut for Time sketch. And I, when you see eye stuff, you immediately think the googly eye sketch, which was one of the first times I really fell in love with Sarah. But the whole situation where she walked in on her parents and that was her her look, I just died. I loved it so much. And she's always been like herky jerky, like it works to her character, but I thought that this was the sketch where that herky jerky quality of hers really would come in handy. And so love that.
I don't know if you listened to the Lonely Island pod, but
I haven't. I missed like the last 5 episodes, but I have been. Yeah.
Okay. If you don't mind, I'll just tell you today.
No, go ahead.
They played a cut sketch, which is a cut version, a cut sequel to one of my favorite sketches of all time, Jeff Montgomery, Sex Offender. So they played the second version with John Hamm there for Halloween once again, and Will Forte coming to the door. And I had never heard the sketch, and I was so excited to get to listen to it. And they played most of it and went through why they felt like it just didn't work and sort of as a sequel didn't make sense to put on the show. And I've argued for years. I'm like, how do you not put one of Will's funniest characters on the show? Obviously, having not seen it. So I just thought it was an interesting thought experiment to listen to it and then actually hear you talk about this googly eye sketch, which is not a direct sequel to the Brendan Gleeson one, but still kind of has the same DNA enough that you start to question of like, why didn't it make it?
Right. Oh, and I yeah, the sex offender sketch. I mean, taboo, but it's so like secondary to he just happens to be, you know? So the vibe of that is just, if you lean too much into the taboo subject matter, like, and that's the thing with Tourette's. So I mean, I see where they went with that, with the clever aspect, but at the same time, you're like, come on. So I get that one. Number 3, I've got Mom's camera roll. And so the Tiana Taylor episode, I mean, we've talked about it before, but the cut sketches and how they didn't make it, this one was the most questionable because we have a pre-tape where catchy song too, all the way through. And I think I'm picking up I Am Every Woman vibes. I think there's like a interpolation of that, but Veronica was great in it. And then we get Cam, we get Ben, and we get Tommy, and the roles are great. I love the thumb and another thumb and a thumb. that killed me. I love that. So that's number 3. Number 2, Juicy Tubins. Okay. Will Ferrell being the most Will Ferrell he could ever Will Ferrell in this. And I don't know what it is, but the endearing quality of Will Ferrell just yelling at kids, there's something about it. Like the kids know they're having a good time too. And I'm like, of all the things to cut from the Will Ferrell, you're cutting this. I understand the cast sketch, the cast cuts went long, but this one needed to be on. And the part where he like puts that blue thing on that one kid, I'm like, what is that? What is this blue thing? What is that? Oh, I was dying.
It was amazing. And there was a lot of really the 2 episodes you look at as the rough cuts are Will Ferrell and Tiana Taylor.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tiana hurt real bad from it though, because the rest of the episode that we got was not good, but she did great in those cut pieces too. So especially camera roll. She was awesome in camera roll. So sure. My number 1, as you probably know by it not being mentioned yet, is Jack Harlow. I lost it. Like, I'm not a huge Jack Harlow fan by any means, but I'm always in support of Ben. And Ben working off Che in this. The lines Jay, ZZ Top, and Lil Wayne's World. Get me with the puns. I'm a punny guy. I love it. I can't. And his impression. The fact that Jack Harlow actually went onto the socials and said that his mom actually thought it was him. The fact that he took it and was not offended by it at all, but actually loved it. I mean, it's so great. And so here's my question to you. Is Ben too nice behind the scenes? Is he somebody that goes, we'll go ahead and put your piece on instead because you need camera time? Like, do you think he, not necessarily like a pushover by any means, but just too kind for maybe to his fault?
It's a good question. I'm not there, obviously, for the like intra personal discussions of a Tuesday night or a Wednesday morning to figure out exactly where it's going wrong for Ben and if it is truly just his personality. For me, I think that he really shined in PDD sketches because they were so quick that they would just jump from one joke to another. And I think in small doses, he really hits. I think when you stretch him out, he has, to me, at least been a little bit more bland on the show than I expected. So that's why I was surprised that Martin wasn't chosen, because I feel like his personality is so much more offbeat out of the three of them that he would stand out more. But if I'm only giving my experience with Ben personally, which is just a couple of conversations, he came off extremely introverted once I was with him, but we don't know each other that well. John Higgins, very extroverted. Him and I were talking a bunch while he was on the show. Super nice guy. I could tell you, like, I feel like I kind of got his vibe and knew him, and he was, excited to see him. But Martin and Ben were less open to getting to know me when I saw them in my limited time. So I hope I gave you the best answer I could.
No, that's what I wanted. And yeah, I have this theory that, he knew that he's been on before. He had 3 seasons of PDD and he just was like, okay, well, if I have something that's funny, but this other cast member who I love and adore and write for has this piece that they want to get on, that I would take a back seat, take one for the team, and then they'll put it online. I don't know that that's a good idea, though. At the same time, it's a competitive atmosphere, right? You're all a team.
I think if you ask Ben, he would want to get all of his stuff on the show. I'm just curious the way that the show views him. Do they just see him as sort of the hot guy? He is in a relationship with the book, like one of the heads of the booking department. He's somebody who is very involved and ingrained, like, behind the scenes of the show as being a former writer there. I just hope there was a real plan for him besides, like, all right, well, we're breaking up PDD, but we don't want to make it a big deal. Ben's a good looking guy. He can kind of write and he's kind of funny. So let's put him in the cast. Like, it was a little bit of a weird situation for me. I hope they figure that out for season 2 if they're going to bring him back.
I mean, I think there's something there. I really do. And I still hope that we can see this Jack Harlow piece.
It was amazing. Best thing he would have done.
Everything you would want in an SNL cast member character piece on a Weekend Update. Like, it's right there. So I loved him.
I'm totally with you. And I think that I agree with you. Should have made the show. I think it really would have helped the perception of his season. So it's a great point. And I'm rooting for Ben. Like I said, he was very nice to me. I don't know him super well, but I do hope that he finds a path for himself. I think Mikey's maybe the block of, being that sort of guy in sketches. But we'll see. Yeah. But Ajax, I appreciate you coming in with a list with some thoughts. Great to get to speak to you as always. And hope you'll come and join us during the summer.
Absolutely. I can't wait to sign up. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good one, man. We'll talk soon.
You too. Bye.
Okay, coming up next on the show is someone new to our patron community. I don't believe we've spoken to before, so we're gonna bring in Oren to the show here tonight. Hey, Oren.
Hey, how are you doing, John? Hello from Alexandria, Virginia.
Oh, hello. Great to get to speak to you, and thanks for joining us on the show here tonight. Finally, we get to talk.
Yeah, sure, of course. As Michael got to share that he was a writer, I'm also a journalist. I've written some stuff on SNL. And he talked about James Austin Johnson. I've interviewed one cast member. It's Siobhan Fallon Hogan.
Siobhan,
it's on my YouTube channel, so you could look it up. And it was a highlight, a humongous highlight for me. But I also was on the train with James Austin Johnson by pure coincidence for a half hour. And I was like, can I interview? And he gave me some email address, and I was just I thought I was too small time to email him, but maybe one day I can work my way up to getting a Jaj interview.
Yeah, give it a shot. He's a great guy. Always been fantastic to the podcast. We had him on a couple of years ago after the season, and I think we at NBC said, "Hey, you got 25 to 30 minutes with Jaj," and then he was on the show, and we were having such a good time, and he was like, "Dude, just keep going. Like, it's okay." So I think we did 45 minutes with him.
Maybe I should take it up. I want to deliver a couple hot takes.
Sure.
The first about season 51, which you're asking everyone how it went. For me, I have trouble forgiving Lauren for the off season. I think that you talk about this being like, I think you guys have overrated, but not completely overrated Bowen that he carried the show. For me, I thought it was a trio. I thought it was like the Ego, Heidi, Bowen era. Those
like in 50 or specifically like those
glue.
Yeah, do you mean specifically in 50 or the past few seasons?
50, Ego was breaking out. I mean, that Miss Eggy character started in season 50, and she needed an extra season to really go. And I think Emil and Michael Longfellow was just too tragic for me to like do anything with. Michael was really finding his voice as a sketch actor, and from day one he was already well formed as a stand-up for Weekend Update pieces. And I think Emil, I also have Middle Eastern roots, so I related so well to everything he was saying. I thought he was just he was the future of the show to me. So, and Devin, I think is a great guy.
I'm with you. I do feel like Emil, there was something I saw in him, and I felt like he was finally getting comfortable. But look, it's a good point. I do think that when we look back on 47, 48, 49, after Kate and 80 and Kyle and Pete, like when they all left the show, and Alex and Melissa, like all those people, it was a huge departure. I do feel like the show was given over to people like Heidi and Ego and Bowen. It's just that I think the Bowen maybe per episode was just always getting something on, whereas Heidi and Ego would disappear for more episodes. Heidi less so in 49, where I feel like 49 was maybe a better season for her. But last year, Bowen was just being featured week after week after week. So I think maybe that's where the perception of our thoughts came to you, in that we were thinking that Bowen was the star. But I do acknowledge that there were other great contributions, and certainly Ego had a great season last year as well.
Well, the funny thing is, the person who saved my summer was your friend Punky. Because she was writing on everyone's Instagram feed when they were firing, because I was like, okay, I spent all summer following the off-season of SNL. I never got in that deep down the rabbit hole. I even have a piece on like potential off-season hires. Sure. And she was giving comfort and being like, no, you were the best. There's light at the end of the tunnel. I was feeling like that. So
well, you know what's funny, Oren, is that so Punky and I have become very good friends. She's been like amazing to us over here. When we knew that something was coming, I gave her a heads up. I'm like, hey, like news is breaking this afternoon, and she's like, all right, I'm gonna get my message ready. Like, it was very funny that I was like, and I told her, I said, hey, Entertainment Weekly, like other trades, they're picking up every single time you write a message. So as soon as we found out that there was, I forget who came last as far as finding out they weren't coming back, but when we knew that the last person was coming out, I texted her right away. I was like, you gotta get on there. So I'm glad that worked for you.
Yeah, that was like the best news I had all summer, was seeing Punky's responses on Instagram.
She's the best.
But yeah, for me, I feel like with Chloe Trost, I feel like Lauren could be losing his touch. I'm gonna have to wait till the off season and seeing if Lauren can properly like respect and value the talent he has on his hands before I feel like fully invested in season 52. And I hope that'll happen. I hope we'll keep the kind of borderline members and give them room to grow.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, these are very interesting times where we don't know what's going to happen. I mean, we've gone 2 seasons in a row losing someone that I think most of the community felt was going to stay on the show. Emil was a huge surprise the year before. Chloe Trost was a big surprise. I'm sure that the show has their reasons why they didn't feel like they were fitting into the ensemble, but you never know. Something might happen, and all of a sudden we hear some veteran is leaving the show. I mean, think about Heidi last year. Like, you never know. So I think it's exciting as an SNL fan to keep some uncertainty in the show and keep things feeling fresh, but it's also scary.
I usually do get into the uncertainty. That's part of the fun of the parlor game of SNL. But the tragedy was, it was just like, it was one of the worst experience. It was the most tragic, I think, result of outcomes in terms of the people that they let go. The second hot take is, well, it's a little beef with this podcast, but it's fun beef. It's a fun argument. But
okay.
I also did a rival YouTube video of the top 10 freshman classes. And I don't know how you can deny the 1990 class. You refer to them as bro-ish. And there are 7 cast members from 1990. All 7 had great careers. Julia Sweeney, Chris Rock, and Tim Meadows, I have a feeling, are not the main complaint of the bro-ish nature of it. So I think what was great about the years that I was following, or the years that I watched it on Comedy Central, was this was a group of people that was reverential to the group before him. It's not like they were like, move away, old people. We want you aside so we can conquer you with our bro-ish comedy. David Spade, Chris Farley, Adam Sandler, Rob Schneider. I've heard that they were all very sweet people. They're all very nice people. I don't even watch a lot of Adam Sandler movies, but he has his fan base. I've never liked a Rob Schneider movie, but when I watched the show, he was actually a solid sketch player. As for the complaint that, like a lot of people complain about the 94-95 season, the way I see it, until Ana Gasteyer and Molly Shannon and Cherry O'Terry got to the show, it was never a show that was very female-centered. That was a problem with the show, but I feel like people wanted to scapegoat their entire first 20 years onto the show onto that 194-95 season. And I feel like it wasn't coming from like these four guys. I don't think they were like openly misogynistic. I think you're thinking of like the first generation. Like Belushi was very hostile to women. Chase was very hostile to women.
Sure. I don't think I said that though. I just to be fair. I don't think that my my ranking of them may be lower on the list than you would have had anything to do with their approach to women on the show. I do think that the show, they called themselves the bad boys. I mean, you can't not view it that way as broy, but it has nothing to do with their perception of women or my perception of how they treated women on the show. I think it was two things. One was, yes, you're totally right. They were reverential to the people who came before them. But once all of those people were gone, the show significantly dipped in quality. I think most people feel that those seasons towards the mid 90s were really rough. Saturday Night Dead, Farley with the TV, like it was things that when they were left to run the show themselves, the show kind of ran itself into the ground. And so to me, they have to take some responsibility for that, even if during those seasons where they were still with Phil and Dana, Jan, like there was some magic that was made. And then the second is that like, if you're thinking about how their careers turned out, a lot of them obviously had incredible success off of the show. But besides Farley, are any of them a top 20 cast member of all time? Like, not on my list.
Yeah, my list, I would put Tim Meadows up there. I would put David Spade up there. Okay. I've never been in the Adam Sandler category, but he has his fan base. Like, there are a lot of people, and
Yeah, for sure. I just think that there's a lot of it. We're dealing with like 160 cast members in the history of the show. Personally, for me, I think that they all bring certain qualities to the show. I think there's an argument for Sandler. There's an argument for Spade, but I think that Sandler had way more success off of the show than he did on the show. And I think that we look at the Sandler highlights way better quality because of obviously his career afterwards. Though I did enjoy a lot of the things that he did with Farley prior to that, kind of the end of the run where they were kind of running on fumes. So I don't hate the era. I know that there's people who love that era of the show and grew up on it. So for me, I don't want anyone to think that I'm not like a champion of the Bad Boys era. It's just that I think that there's some other rookie classes that came in that had people that were potentially top 5, top 10 all time, and that maybe had a consistent career throughout. Does that track?
Yeah, I get that. I think, but I feel like it was good. It was like, it was like 7 for 7. And like, I feel like, maybe it's also, I was growing up on Comedy Central reruns. So obviously I'm going to have an attachment to the early 90s.
Sure.
I
of
will
course.
say that they'll have a place in my heart. Yeah, I'll say that. So there's that. And I also think
that's great.
Issues.
Yeah. Oh, and Orrin, I'll say that's great. I also say that if you're, Bill and I had this debate, if the debate is, does every single person in the cast themselves have a good career versus, let's say, a cast that has like Seth and Amy, where you have Jeff Bridges and Dean Edwards, who sort of didn't pan out. Like when you look at Seth and Amy, they probably have higher peaks, but that was part of the debate. But that's why we did the podcast, because we thought it would be fun to have that discourse. So I'm glad you're coming in with a different opinion. I invite it, honestly.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Hopefully people can check out my YouTube channel as well, which is
please. Yeah.
Sophomore Critic. And then OK Journalist is where you can see my interviews and my top 10 freshman classes as well. I'm enjoying the Patreon community and seeing so many people who just know so much. That's really great.
Good. I'm really glad to have you a part of our community, and I hope you enjoy it and continue to be participating in everything we're doing over here, because we can use more perspectives and more people like you. So
and let's hope the cast list for season 52 is a good one.
Yes, I certainly hope so. So, Oren, hope we get to chat again sometime soon.
Absolutely.
Thanks, buddy. All right, let's keep up this show and bring the energy in even further with our friend Max. Max, how are you doing?
I am doing good. I am officially 10 days away from finishing my first school year as a teacher. So we're getting there.
Congratulations. How was the first school year as a teacher?
It was had its ups and downs. My role is as a building sub, so I'm a teacher, but I'm teaching literally everything every day. So it's very fun, but very challenging.
Okay. Well, I love that you got to do that. Is this something that you really want to do for the rest of your life?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Amazing. Well, congratulations. Very excited for you to wrap up. Any big summer plans?
I'm seeing Noah Khan in a few weeks.
Okay. There you go. That's awesome.
That's my big thing,
Max, yeah. Tell me if there's any SNL related topics that you wanted to jump into.
Oh yeah, there was one thing I was thinking of a few weeks ago that I noticed over the past couple of years, and maybe even longer than that, like SNL has kind of been sacrificing the number of sketches for the length of sketches. And I feel like for me personally, I don't love this. I would rather like getting 7 4-minute long live sketches instead of 4 7-minute long ones, wherever we're getting that. Like Cast List 2 was 7 minutes. That felt excessive. There have been a lot of 6-minute ones. And they're funny. I like them. I just don't know if I love the concept of losing the amount of sketches for the length of sketches.
I'm completely with you. There's like so many analogies you can make, but it's kind of like undercooked and overcooked food. Like you have to find your sweet spot. And if sketches are too short, they risk the chance of becoming this just overly used blackout bits all the time. And then if they're too long, you dip in quality at some point. And maybe that was sort of my problem with Cast List 2 slightly, where it was 7 minutes and I was like, oh man, this is really, it becomes the centerpiece of your entire show. And I think they struggled with that in the Trump first era, where all of the cold opens were like 10 minutes long and just had guest cameos coming in all the time. So it's interesting that you feel that this is making its way into the live material now, which is, I definitely noticed it in the Ferrell episode, but were there other moments this season where you were like, oh wow, this feels super long?
There were, in the Ryan Gosling episode was another one. I mean, again, like the passing notes, it rightfully won the best sketch. Like it was my favorite sketch of the season too. But like, can that have maybe been 30 seconds shorter? And then we could have gotten something else at the end of the episode just to like feel it's quality and quantity, but like, I don't know. It almost feels like we're getting less, even though we're not. I think just part of it being a variety show, I want more variety, and getting longer sketches means a little bit less variety.
Yeah, I think that's a fair take. I think that, I don't know if we can come up with the magic number of segments that we would like to see in a given episode. Like what's the perfect SNL episode? But I do agree, something that you said that just like clicks about like 7 4-minute sketches. Is that the perfect number? It feels right.
It feels right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great take. Yeah. Do you have any other questions or thoughts or anything that you want to talk about when it comes to SNL this season?
No, I mean, I was really high on it. I think we've kind of touched a few times on we definitely need some more diversity before we can say like we're officially in a golden era. But like as the season overall, I was really high on it. It was one of my favorites to watch in a few years. So
yeah, that's definitely true. Do you want to help me answer a question from our mailbag?
Let's do it. Yeah.
All right. This one comes from Monette, who asks, choosing between the Herlihy shorts, the Midnight Matinees, Brad and his dad, and the one-off Streeter Mikey animated shorts, which would you rather be the only pre-tape segment to have a guaranteed time slot in season 52?
Ooh. I'm going to say Midnight Matinee, as long as they are not all musical. I think... Yes. I think that's where I'm going to go. The one in the Will Ferrell episode, I'm blanking on the name of it. I liked the concept of it. I did not love it as a musical. But
the Bobbins sacrifice. Yeah.
I like all of them in general, just they don't all need to be musicals.
Yeah, I would say it's tough because the declaring statement here, or part of the sentence, is the permanent time slot. And I think if we're thinking of all right, permanent pre-tapes Jack Handy's Deep Thoughts or Digital Shorts or Smigel's TV Funhouse. So you're thinking of things that'll air like almost every episode. So I think that disqualifies Hurley's pre-tapes for me, because I think those are really good as a once every 3 weeks type of thing. And I also think midnight matinees every single week might be tough because they're really high budget. They have like a certain look and feel with these weird oddball characters that they put into them, I guess, like animated things. But Brad and his dad feels like something I wouldn't mind seeing every week. I think that is something that or at least like, 15, 16 episodes a season, because it feels like there's just like this continued storyline there. And they cut a couple this year, Max, and I was kind of disappointed that we didn't get to see more of it.
Well, yeah, that could even go to my point before too. Like if you're getting 15 Brad and his dad's a season, that's a 2-minute thing, right? That's more variety.
Yeah.
So
and it feels like
that,
yeah, and it feels like they could turn it into their own sitcom, but since Mikey and Streeter are so important at Saturday Night Live, like why not just have it on the show? So to me, that feels like the right question, which is, like I would, the right answer to that question. I would probably go for Brad and his dad. Let's take one more. Let's go to Victor, who was with us before earlier in the show. He said, is winning awards or even just winning Emmys still important to or for the show? I personally think it could go either way for that, but I would naturally say probably not. What do you think?
Ooh. For the show as a whole, no, because I think most of the time for awards, it's like themselves and one other show. I don't really think, I think they're just counting stats at this point. But for the individual cast members, absolutely. I think for their careers, especially the early ones, like if Ashley gets nominated, if someone like early on gets nominated, I think, it's very important for them to get that so early in their careers.
Personally, I feel like the producers at the show try and tune out all the noise and all the feedback about the show, except when they get Emmys. They get so excited about the awards and they feel like that is their validation that they're doing something right. So I think the show definitely still cares about that, and they're putting everything they can into continuing to get Emmys. And with all of the changes to the categories about what category SNL really falls in, does John Oliver's show fall in their category? And they started to go on this run of not really getting all the accolades. I think they're sort of back into making a push for it. So I think it's something that they definitely do still care about. Does it really matter? How many more people are watching Saturday Night Live because they won or lost the Emmy? Probably no one, but I think they at the show feel good. So it's sort of like yes, it matters to them. For us, it's cool to say, yay, Saturday Night Live, but does it like really matter?
It's not going on my Instagram story if they win an Emmy.
It will go on our Instagram.
You can go on yours. It's not going on mine.
Yeah, that's totally fair. All right, Max. Well, thank you for joining us here tonight. Great to catch up with you. Sorry that you lost AJ Brown, but hope you feel good about the Eagles. Okay, we don't have to talk about it. So, but I hope you'll get to join us over the summer as well. Always
excited. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks, Max. All right, talk soon. Okay, up next on the show, we got Dakota with us coming home from work, I believe. So Dakota, thanks for coming home to be with us.
Hey, good to see you. Good to be back. Yeah, sorry about the little audio issues there for a second, but everything's working good now. So yeah,
you sound
good to
great.
be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Dakota. I really appreciate you, and of course, like I said, I think you hustled home to be here with us. So I'm thankful that we got you on the show here tonight. Anything that you're thinking about when it comes to SNL that you want to talk about?
Well, I don't really know. I mean, I missed most of the show. I'll watch it, of course, on
no
the
problem.
replay.
We can repeat if there's anything.
But I was thinking of just looking forward to the summer countdown of the 100 best sketches of all time. So are there any sketches from this season do you think could make that cut, be in that top 100?
I think so. I think that, I don't know for sure, but I think ones that are worth consideration, I gotta think that Mom Confession, MAGA Mom is one that has a good shot to make the list. I don't know if it does. So that's one I would think when you're thinking about like what Ashley sketch, I think maybe that or Haircut are considerations. I think if you're going to say like, will the super fans of the show or even the social media fans that are diehards push a sketch on. Maybe Pinwheel gets there. I mean, that one got a lot of votes when we did the top sketches of 2025. So I don't think that's a top 100 sketch, but I do think that that is something that could potentially be pushed. And then the other one to think about is how much do sentimental sketches get pushed onto the list? Like, I'm thinking, Dakota, of the Bowen Goodbye, the Delta Sky Lounge this year.
Yeah.
What if that makes it? Does She's a Rainbow make it with Kristen Wiig's Goodbye? Like, I think of things that are sort of, Cecily's Goodbye with a few years ago with Austin Butler. So I think those are ones that are all definitely up for consideration, but I don't think we have a slam dunk.
No, same. I mean, there's the passing note sketch, which I mean, I enjoyed it. It's a bit of a hot button issue for some people, that sketch, but I enjoyed it. I don't think it should be in the top 100, but it did win the best sketch of the year with the audience. So that might, I think, push Gosling it in,
helps,
maybe.
Though. If they do that sketch with, I don't know, I don't want to pick on him. if they do that sketch with Josh O'Connor, does that sketch make the top make the best sketch of the year? I'm not sure. I think it's because Gosling is so giggly and they wanted to play into it.
Totally.
But yeah, I think it's a different criteria. We are counting the votes a little bit differently, whereas with the award show, we did, hey, patrons and podcasters, you guys vote for the nominees, and then we're going to put it out to the public, and then they'll choose between those finalists. Whereas for the summer countdown, we always take our community's votes as a higher value. It doesn't mean that the social media audience doesn't matter, but you guys and your choices will matter a lot more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I think it's a great question, and it's one that I think will probably come up on the podcast at some point. But yeah, I think when we do the show with Bill on Sunday, I always like to get him to do some predictions. So I'm certainly going to ask him, how many seasons do you think got on the show? Like, are there any seasons that are missing sketches and things like that? And we'll talk about if we think that there's going to be any recent ones. Dakota, anything else you wanted to ask me?
No, nothing really comes to mind. I don't know if you want to do any more mailbag, or
sure. Let me jump into the mailbag.
I don't know.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll jump into the mailbag while we have
sure.
you for a few more minutes. Let me take this one from our friend Ajax, who was also with us earlier, who asked, "What's the most underrated sketch of the season that no one is talking about that we all overlooked?" For me, it's the UPS delivery driver, which was outshined by free samples in the Melissa McCarthy episode. What's yours? Do you have like a sleeper hit that you are thinking, hey, we never talked about that one, but it was so good?
It's funny. I was thinking the exact opposite of what Ajax said.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking that that free sample sketch was just brilliant, and it was really a good showcase of Jeremy, kind of his first real big pop on the show. And I love that sketch, but I thought it kind of got overshadowed by the the physical comedy of Melissa, and
that's a good point.
Yeah. I would say I thought it was more viral online, that UPS sketch.
Fair enough. I would say one that I think we don't talk about enough that was really great was in the Amy Poehler episode. She did a sketch called Miss Lycus, the Fast Psychic, where she was talking to the audience, and it was so quick and so great. And I think it was the 50th anniversary of the show.
It was, yeah.
And Tina and Seth were there, and there was just a lot of big moments, and it felt like a big night for a lot of people. And Amy was just so great, but I think with everything going on, we didn't talk enough about how good of a sketch that was. It was just something that she was amazing.
Yeah, I really liked that sketch as well. I think that Amy Poehler episode was probably my favorite of the season. It was just a solid show, top to bottom.
Same. I really think it was, like I've been struggling sort of like, is it Powell? Is it Gosling? Is it Poehler, Carpenter? Like those are the ones that
a lot of Jack Black.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I've never been in this position before where I've been after a season saying, hey, most of the stuff we watched this year was great. There's not a lot we can quibble at. Whereas I feel in the last few seasons, there's been episodes that are really, hey, like this is the best episode of the season or one of two of them. And these are the one or two worst. I don't feel like we have that as much this year.
Yeah, it's been really consistent, and which I've liked. There's hasn't been anything, really really terrible. Even the stuff that was, of a lesser quality was still enjoyable to watch. And I'm really energized for season 52 now. Like I didn't want this season to end. It was really fun. And talking with you guys and being a part of this community, it's it's fun.
It's very fun, yeah, and I say like I will enjoy having a little bit of a break this summer, but
for you for sure.
I
miss double duty half the
but,
time.
Sure, but it is fun to get to talk to you guys, and I'm glad we get to like spend the summer together and look back at SNL a little bit. But it is always great when some of our friends who are not with us during the summer pop back in the fall, and we get to all hang out and talk about the show each and every week. So really appreciate you coming home from work, like I said, Dakota, and jumping on the podcast with us.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, I definitely wanted to be here. Good to see you, and thanks for all you do.
Yeah, thank you, Dakota. Appreciate you, and we'll talk soon.
All right,
let's bring in our friend Max is here with us tonight. Max, how are you?
Doing okay. Glad to be here. I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about today, and the last segment kind of brings it up. I kind of want to talk about hype for an episode and how it can change the way you view an episode.
Okay.
Like, for example, I was really hyped for the Amy Poehler episode, 50th anniversary, but it seemed more like later Amy Poehler than peak Amy Poehler, and it just, all the sketches seemed kind of meh to me. I was expecting more, and while the sketches were okay, they just weren't like popping for me. And the same with Will Ferrell, and I feel bad because I was looking forward to season finale. One of my favorite episodes is his from 2019 with the pasta commercial sketch with Kate McKinnon, and my favorite musical sketch of all time, Teacher at a Party When My Parents Are Out. And so I was just expecting a lot more, and other than the cold open and the cast announcement, it didn't really do much for me. But on the other hand, and if I'm talking too much, just tell me to slow down.
No, I want to hear your thoughts. This is great.
On the other hand, Matt Damon's past episodes were ho-hum. You had Weezer, which was good, but I was just thinking, oh, this was just going to be another episode, but it was a home run. I mean, from the cold open to the awkward response to Substitute Teacher to the auctioneers, everything was a hit. And so it's funny how if your expectations are high and they're not met, you'll enjoy the episode less. And the Finn Wolfhard is one of my favorite ones because I didn't know what to expect. A first-time host, sci-fi genre show, and I laughed at every sketch he was in. And so it's amazing how expectations play a part in enjoying the show.
I love that you brought it up. It's definitely something that I think about a lot where, on the podcast, we certainly love to hype up and get excited for these next episodes. And, some are going to be disappointing because they're not going to meet your expectations. But to me, that's what makes SNL so great, Max, is that sometimes things don't add up and they get etched in stone. And we look back at them and we say, all right, well, is Will Ferrell one of the greatest hosts of all time? He's certainly one of the greatest cast members of all time. But if this episode doesn't match up to his legacy, or if you felt Amy's didn't match up to her legacy, then those are new records that we put in the books. And I think that bad SNL is sometimes just as interesting as good SNL. So I've gone through the same emotions of, hey, one of my favorite people is coming back tonight, or this host I'm really excited to see, and I'll watch an entire episode and it won't live up to expectations. But it is important sometimes to take a step back and be like, all right, well, that episode was bad. Why was it bad? Why was it weird? And then we break it down and we talk about it and we move on to the next week because the next bus is coming. So I completely resonate with your feelings on all that. And I assume that a lot of people go through the same experience as you. But I just think, I know you've been a longtime SNL fan. After so many years, we've lived through all the good, all the bad. And we know that there's just going to, for every bad episode of SNL, there's going to be another good one coming its way.
But every episode had a smasher. Even Amy Poehler had the lawyer sketch, which just was hat upon a hat upon hat, but good. It was just every time you thought they can't go crazy, or they do. And so there was not a single episode had all duds, which is good, because there's a lot of seasons you can't say that.
100%. Yeah. I mean, that's what made this fun, was that I never, like, I some people will say, all right, well, John's always saying the show is good when it's not. Like, that's not how I feel. I don't feel like I ever try and, try and make things better than they actually are. I just genuinely enjoy the show regardless. But this year, it was way easier to enjoy the show than any other year we've covered. So for me, part of it is the excitement of, hey, we have like a new, really exciting, great cast member, but also the quality just never dipped. I think one of the big storylines we'll be talking about as we start to preview season 52 is I don't think SNL has had a good season finale in years. So maybe that's something that we can look to as where there's areas they can improve if we're trying to think of how 52 can be even better than 51. But I am hoping that the consistency remains, because I think seasons that are more consistent end up being better in the long run than ones that just peaked and had valleys.
I wanted to run an idea by you for season 52. I noticed it's going to be on Halloween, and hopefully they have a Halloween show. I love when they have a show on Halloween. My idea is having like a guest, like an actor swap, have a cast member from SNL USA host UK and vice versa. I would love to see George Akers play with Judge, Ashley Padilla, and I think that would be fun, but I can't pick and decide who I'd want from SNL US to host UK that night. I'm thinking Keenan because of seniority, but
yeah,
Ashley
that's the
Padilla,
obvious answer.
There's so many. Who would you think? And type in the comments below. Who would you like to host SNL UK from SNL US?
So I think the person I would like the most, if we're just talking about a current cast member to send over there, is I would like to see Sarah Sherman over there, because I think they'll let her do whatever she wants, and that's the dream. So in our like pipe dream world of what we can do, then that makes the most sense. I do think it would be fun to see Keenan in the UK. I know that a lot of people like watching the UK because, hey, we're watching Saturday Night Live without Keenan for the first time in 23 years. What does that look like? But it would be cool to get him there for an episode. And I would not be surprised if he popped in at some point during their run. I know he's currently on the US show, but if it ever made sense to fly him over there for something, he's been on the show longer than anyone. He's one of the greatest players ever. Got to think that he makes an appearance at some point. So yeah, I would say Sarah is probably my answer that I think I would be the most excited about.
Cool. I also want to say next week marks my second anniversary of being a fan of the SNL Saturday Night podcast. I tuned in, found your 100 best host, and followed that. Last year was the first time being on a podcast with 100 best episodes, and I'm racking my brain on the 100 best sketches because I have OCD, so I overanalyze everything.
That's good. I'm the same way, by the way.
But I'm really hoping Dead Frog Society from Val Kilmer gets in there, and I see you're going. Because I'm gonna miss the Hot Take Show, because that's the only podcast I listen to through Apple Podcasts, because I watch the other ones live. So I'm gonna watch 20 years ago and then listen to your podcast. And I'm really excited about next year, because the next year that you're doing, Rainn Wilson hosts, and that's the debut of my favorite all-time sketch, which I'm going to vote every one of the music memories in, because it's so off the wall. I know what's coming, but I laugh every time, and pee came out my nose. It's just it's comedy gold. So when you do that episode, I would love to be on that episode.
Okay.
Just throwing it out there.
I'll note it for sure. Sammy sort of produces that podcast series, so I just have to talk to him about what the plans are for 32 when we do the 20 years later podcast over there. But I definitely appreciate the pitch, absolutely. And those song memory sketches were some of my favorites. I mean, it was just like, it was when I was watching those, I was at the age where I started going to bars. So my friends and I, whenever we'd have songs that would come on, and it just felt like the right moment of like, hey, maybe we're doing something ridiculous, and then a song we all love is going to come on. We're all going to sing the chorus together. So totally relatable. Cannot wait to cover those. And I'll just say, Max, I really appreciate your support of the SNN. It is so meaningful to me how outward you are with your love of the show. And I thank you for being here and being a part of our community. And I saw the video you made, and I really, really appreciate you. It's not easy to put yourself out there the way that you do. And
the feeling is mutual.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
So hope you continue to come back and have some fun with us. And I love getting to hear your thoughts.
Will do. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, Max, we're going to talk soon. Thanks. All right. We got one more patron joining us here tonight to continue our show and close it all out. So let's bring in our friend Jared is here. Jared, how are you?
Feeling great, John. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great. Thank you for joining us. It's been a really fun show. Everyone has come in with some great ideas and questions. So pressure's on for you. How do you want to wrap up the show? What do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to congratulate you and your bladder of iron for making it through a 4.5-hour podcast, as well as this patron feedback show here.
Thanks, buddy.
That's a good amount of time.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. What's your NBA Finals prediction? Knicks or Spurs?
So I haven't checked the score of what's going on here. I'm excited to get upstairs.
I won't spoil it. Yeah.
No, I'll check it out. We're probably through the third. Spurs up a little bit. I think I was probably going to go Knicks in 6. That was my take on it. I just think that the Wemby is a beast, but he's still a puppy. And I think there is a chance that him and Castle and Harper have a ways to go just to figure out how to get through the grind. He's never played as much as he's ever played in an NBA season. So I think that there is a possibility that he just burns out. But of course, the fear for everyone else who's a basketball fan is if he wins this year, is he ever not going to win? I mean, he's just so dominant. So he's sort of for fans of SNL, he's like the Ashley Padilla. He came out and he's this freak alien from France who's just dominating the league. And I guess the reason I'm picking the Knicks, Jared, is just that if they don't win this year, does the window pass them? Perhaps Indiana's good next year, Boston ends up getting there. So I'm sort of rooting for them.
That's understandable, considering the last time they won was before SNL even started.
True that. Yeah,
That's
53
true.
years ago.
Sadly, while my Cavs got swept by the Knicks, they still beat victorious Pistons. So I'll take that.
Okay. Well, do you have any SNL questions for me that you want to talk about? Yeah.
Yes, let's do that. What's the usual sentiment of cast members when their cut for time material is posted? Is it awesome, people can see my stuff, or dang it, I could have repackaged that for someone else?
I think they're happy. And I think that's a new thing. I don't think no one Bill Hader would get his stuff that was cut and put online. I don't think he really cared. I think he would have said, I would have rather that be the live show one day. But I think in this era where all of the cast members are mostly online, I think they're just thrilled to be able to share it. So yeah, I mean, people have different incentives now. People want to get more popular on social media because it's going to increase their reach, and it's another way to grow. Whereas before they needed to get bigger on Saturday Night Live to be able to find success. And now there's other paths.
That's true.
What's your take?
Yeah, some of the best cut for times were on there and they still get to be shown, like Tommy's Minnesota Weekend Update. My opinion, Veronica's best sketch was the Chili's waitress, which got cut. That one really shows her shining, and Ben Marshall's Jack Harlow was probably his best of the season. And maybe I don't know if that's factored into the decision. It'd be fun to be in that SNL Illuminati room when they're making the decisions for the future cast. I don't know.
It's not as my understanding is that it's not as sort of hey, we're all going to sit around the boardroom and hash this out. I think it's a lot of, hey, I don't want to think about this, and this is from Lauren's perspective. I don't want to think about the season for a month and a half, and then I'm going to send my greatest scouts to go to Just for Laughs, to go to the comedy clubs around and start looking at new talent. Let's see what some new talent looks like. And then we look at the board and we say, all right, it's been a couple months. What can we do to freshen things up to make us better than last year? So I don't even think they're thinking about anything right now. And I think we're going to get to contract renewal, which is typically around like August 1st, August 15th, that type of thing. And then we're going to hear about some major decisions. So yes, I would love to have one eye on what's going on there, but it's just such a bizarre path they take to get there.
That's true. And we can live in the glow of this awesome season and SNL UK series 1. Man, Amy Lou Wood and Hannah Waddingham's episodes are amazing. They really are. They knocked it out of the park with both of those.
True. Yeah. I mean, you got to think if you're SNL US and you're watching those two, you're thinking, how do we not get Amy Lou Wood and Hannah Waddingham to host our show? So that's another perspective that we don't talk about, but you're starting to see people who very well could have hosted our show and now they're hosting their show, and maybe they're happy for them, but maybe they're also regretting not booking them themselves.
Yeah, very, very true, especially with Ted Lasso coming back soon. Maybe it's possible we see Hannah Waddingham in the US version, or possibly next season on UK as the first repeat host. They have a lot of great selections to pick from.
Yeah, and I think she was at the show when Sudeikis hosted in 47. So
cool.
She definitely knows what's going on. And yeah, I mean, I would love to get Jason back at the show to host. I mean, he had such a brilliant episode a few years back. He was one of my favorites we've ever covered here. So that would be a really, really fun pick if we're starting to think about 52.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I do have one on the topic of, I guess, cameos. So are actors paid for cameos, or is it considered, quote, an honor to be on the show, so they do it for free?
I believe they are paid. I don't think they're paid a lot. I think they're just paid a appearance fee. So I think it's like a few $100 check that gets sent to their team, but it's not. It's not like they're not coming for the money.
No. So I guess kind of a mix of a little honorarium, but a lot of exposure.
Yeah, it's kind of like most of them get paid to go on like a late night talk show. It's not so different than that. I guess, depends on the bit if they're very much involved. Like, Alec Baldwin, when he was playing Trump, he was cameoing every week, but he was paid a salary for the year. They sort of paid him as a cast member. So I think, it sort of depends on the situation. Lorne asks for an insane budget that I don't know that any other producer would be able to afford. So sure. Yeah, we'll see how these things develop in the future, but it is something that I think most people who come on the show are just more excited to be on Saturday Night Live than they are there for the money.
Yeah, most definitely. I am excited for your 100 best sketches. For the people who haven't filled it out, I highly recommend a spreadsheet of putting. I picked 100. It took a bit, but now I just have to enter them all into your voting page. So I'm very curious to see which some of the ones I found the funniest also will make it in there.
Well, I hope that a lot of yours do make it. I know you have a good eye for this stuff. So, if someone, like I said, doesn't have 100, think of 10 that you want in there. Just get your picks in, because we are going to close the voting in a day and a half. And I want to make sure that we get everybody's in as quickly as possible. But I hope you enjoyed the exercise, and that will make it more enjoyable to go through the series all summer.
Yeah, and I hope there's a good spread. I mean, there's obviously going to be recency bias, so I'm sure there'll be lots of 40 through 51 in there. Maybe not, and definitely some 1 through 5, but I don't know, maybe that middle and some of the later 90s may not have a lot, but yeah, I'm very curious to see what comes out of it.
It'll be a great time to go through it all. And yeah, every summer when we do these, we always have one or two that we're like, would that have made it on if that didn't just recently happen? But that's every countdown list ever. So I do think that these things are fun to look at. And one day we'll go back, we'll do the cast again, we'll do the episodes again once we have more to go through. So that's the fun of it. But yeah, Jared, thanks for joining us here to wrap up our show here tonight. Really appreciate all of your takes and being a part of this all season long. You call in from the street even during some of our shows.
That's true. In New Orleans, I'll have to do one from the beach sometime.
Okay, I look forward to that, but maybe not if you join us for the countdown series, because we need you definitely at the desk for that one. But for a call-in show, absolutely.
Gotcha. Well, John, thank you for doing everything that you do and producing awesome content that I listen to while I do my work. And
you're welcome.
And yeah, thanks. Congratulations on everything, and very happy to be here.
Thanks, Jared. Really appreciate you. So we'll talk soon. All right, everybody, that does it for tonight's feedback show. Over 3 hours of calls with some of our greatest members of our community. And I just want to say, if you were listening to the show here, even just for a little bit or for the whole show, and you said to yourself, hey, I would love to talk about SNL one day, come on. It's really, really fun to come onto these shows. We do them once a month throughout the entire season. So we're going to continue to do these next year. We have a lot of our personalities that join us, and everyone here is super nice and friendly. So if you're thinking about doing it, sign up to become a patron, patreon.com/the SNL Network, and register for our shows. And I'm happy to get to talk to you about Saturday Night Live. So really want to thank all of our supporters who have supported us all season long and joined us on all of these shows, and everyone in the live chat for hanging out with us tonight. It was really just so much fun to get your comments. And I put up the comments on screen. Seems like everyone was very well behaved. So I do appreciate it. So that does it for all of our coverage of season 51 of Saturday Night Live and series 1 of SNL UK. As I mentioned, over 100 podcasts I think we've done since the start of September, the end of September, once we started previewing some of this cast and going in. So it's been quite the journey to get through these last 9 months of the show. And I could not do it without our incredible team here at the SNN who help support everything we do. So just really want to shout out everybody and thank them for all of their support to help keep the SNN machine going. If you enjoy what you heard tonight, you can subscribe to the podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. That's the easiest way to find all of our shows. You'll get notified when we go live for anything. You can also see our Everything You Need to Know About SNL series with season 26 coming out tomorrow night. So that will be there on the show at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then, as I mentioned, we'll be back on Sunday for the premiere of our summer countdown series, the greatest 100 SNL sketches of all time. And then we will be on every Monday night after that all throughout the summer. And of course, if we have some interviews or anything else that we're working on, we'll pop in every now and then for other stuff, maybe some breaking news, like those types of things. We'll be here during the summer to cover all of that. You can always reach out to me if you're a patron, talk to us on Discord. You can reach out on Patreon if you have any questions, or if you just want to send us a message on social media. I try my best to communicate with everybody we can. And I want you to know that I'm here to talk to any SNL fan about their opinion, because I just love getting to do this. And I'm really thankful for being here and everything that you guys do to make the SNN a big part of the SNL family. So really appreciate everybody. I want to thank Late Nighter for being the presenting partner of our podcast here tonight. And on behalf of everyone at the Saturday Night Network, my name is Jon Schneider, and we will see